4 in the morning, you got me up, all cause you need to talk. To 4 in the evening, wanna break up, say that you've had enough. I'm tired of talking, again and again, argue about everything. You are my darling, this kiss and make up, I know you wanna touch. You call me every night, call me every day, I just wanna get you alone now. Trust me when I say, we gon' be okay, we just gotta boom bada boom ba. I don't wanna fight, you know that I'm right, baby let me talk to your body. We gon' be okay, hear me when I say.
The lead attorney. Yep, that's the lead attorney. And that's how he often starts his live streams. If you know anything about the lead attorney, he's a very affable person. He's very laid back. I would even say more laid back than Curtis Mayfield and his classic back in the 70s called the Cadillac song, when he's laid back, leaned back, chilling in his Cadillac. But the lead attorney is a great example for what happens when we don't have a world or a culture that's based on strong masculine authority. If you know anything about the lead attorney, he's a very strategic, but at the same time, he's very cerebral in his thinking. And he interviewed a woman recently called Suzette Speaks on his show when he was talking about the trends in dating and relationships. But after that show, the lead attorney was accused of being like K.Samuels. And many often accuse K.Samuels as being a tyrant. But the problem is not that the lead attorney or K.Samuels are tyrants. The point is, a lot of our women suffer from a thinking disorder called cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance occurs when, one, they deny the evidence through a term or synonym that I created called death, but they deny the evidence. They become enraged when you present them with the evidence. They argue the fact, do ad hominem attacks. Instead of attacking the message, they attack the messenger, and then they fight or flee because they can't handle the truth. And that cognitive dissonance is going to cause many women to be alone because they fail to introspect and do the shallow work to help them become better versions of themselves. But when you live in a society where preachers often coddle our women in their pathologies, when liberal groups and politics coddle our women in their pathologies, when their girlfriends coddle them in their pathologies, and where the world coddles them in their pathologies, regardless on how you present the truth, it's going to always be an issue. The lead attorney is a man that's a lawyer by trade, so he knows how to think, and he knows how to examine people. But in my times of understanding dealing with the lead attorney, he's a fair person. And as I said earlier, he's very affable. He's easy to talk to. But it becomes a problem when men try to come in a spirit of brotherhood and a spirit of being genuine to help assuage our women in their ignorance. And when you get a barrage of women that actually attack a man to the point that he has to go back and read chats and read emails to help clear up the air, it becomes an issue problematic. And it's problematic because in other countries where the men actually rule, they don't have to explain themselves. The women understand and respect the men, and actually the women are in place. But we live in a world where men and women actually are in ignorance because men actually defer power to women. And women expect power many times because they have not grown up in the level of maturity to have what's called cogent conversations. I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy this show as the lead attorney in K.Samuels talks about the importance of relationships. And he's going to have Suzette Speaks back on the panel as K.Samuels is talking about how he wants women to have better outcomes so that they can get the relationships that they want. And I want you to remember this. If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right. There are 7 steps that a man must go through in order to become an optimized male. Understanding female psychology and also understanding the importance of male mental and physical health is paramount to the efficacy of a person. Enjoy this dialogue by the lead attorney K.Samuels and Suzette Speaks, and ask yourself the question from his prior shows: was K.Samuels fair? Was the lead attorney balanced in his jurisprudence? And did the women that attacked the lead attorney have a schema affliction? He will. On the Drops of Fire for Your Mind, this is going to be an epic show. And we're going to be talking about the power of black masculinity. Is black masculinity dead? Get your pens and paper ready as I drop some fire for your mind on today. And it's K.Samuels the Boogey Man. It's one day away from Halloween, and the question remains, is K.Samuels the Boogey Man as it relates to masculinity? Let's get ready to have some fun in a minute.
Hello, this is an important message from YEAH County Public Schools. To listen to the message, press
in the Union, the Tar Heel State, where the topography is serene, pristine, and verdant green, where every day is Father's Day, and where manhood is part of hills and valleys, victories and failures, and whereas men, we don't agree on all things or ideologies, but tonight we come together as allies of a common cause only to dissipate once the crisis is over. Now listen, I'm about to drop some fire for your mind. But before I drop that fire, let's explore why we are doing the Manhood Chronicles. All right. We're about to start this show in a minute. If you guys can hear me, hit the 1 button. But something ominous is happening in America, and it more or less highlights the peril of black masculinity. And I posed the question because tomorrow is Halloween, and many people think that K.Samuels is the boogeyman. Now listen, I normally dress a little, tend to dress up from casual to, semi-casual to formal, but I wanted to dress down today to project an image of masculinity. Something is happening in our societies when men can't speak out on the things that bother them. Something is happening when men can't speak their convictions without being shamed. Something is happening when men in general don't have the power to speak truth to power because they are afraid of what their women are going to think, and they are afraid what others are going to think. Listen, there was a time when men spoke unapologetically masculine. They didn't care what their mom said or what their friends said because they stood on their square as men. But it appears that men like the lead attorney, a man that's very fair and balanced, a man that's very kind. He was attacked by some women recently when he did a show with Suzette Speaks. And he was attacked because many of our women are not used to heteronormative masculinity. They're not used to it. And so when men come to give them instructions or more or less cross-examine or give them any forms of, rebuke or response, many will say, he's misogynistic, he hates women, and your mama is black. And see, all of that is a thinking error, and some of it is tied into what's called cognitive dissonance, where they deny the evidence, they become enraged when you present them with the evidence, they argue, do ad hominem attacks, and they fight you or flee because they cannot deal with the evidence that they're dealing with. Now listen, I need you guys to take a deep breath. We're gonna do some clinical skills exercises I do with my clients. I want you to inhale the good, and then I want you to exhale the bad. It's time for black men in America and all men to inhale the good of great masculinity and to exhale the toxicity that continues to permeate in their minds because of schema afflictions that they have and because so many black men think that they are less than. Listen, you don't have to like K.Samuels for whatever reason. You don't have to like him. But one thing about K.Samuels is that K.Samuels speaks with conviction. He also speaks his mind. And whether you like his delivery or how he delivers things, it can be harsh at times. You can't deny that some of the things the brother says is the truth. And so K.Samuels appears to be the boogeyman because anytime black men want to exercise their options, they are shamed back onto the plantation. They are shamed back into relationships. Their sisters are trying to shame them. Their mothers will try to shame them. And the question remains is the black masculinity dead? If you notice that, that pill, the black pill symbolizes death. And many black men have come to the point that they feel like there is no saving the black community. And see, listen, family is the number one pillar to helping a man become optimized as a male. But when the family is gone, what do we have, people, when the family is gone? What do we have when the black man or any man is not in control of his family? What do we have when our daughters do not respect their fathers? What do we have when our women don't respect their fathers? I've said before in the past, and I'll say it again. I love my mom, but my mama can get this work too. I love my sisters, but my sisters can get this work. And I also love my daughters, and they definitely can get this work. As a man, you should be unapologetic in your stand as a man. You should never have to compromise your convictions. Because if you go to other countries and other places, men stand on principles. They don't waver in their convictions. They don't care what their mothers think or their sisters think because it's a patriarchy. They stand firm in their convictions as men. But if you look at men like the lead attorney is a very mellow guy. He's not a hard to get along with guy. And K.Samuels was interviewing a couple of brothers recently, and those men felt like they had an issue with staying loyal to women that are not loyal to them. Listen, I believe that men should exercise their options in all areas and all domains. No man or woman should be limited to one ethnic group. If our women feel like there's not a viable black man, they should be able to date who they want to date. The same with black men. Because at the end of the day, the black seed, if it's a black man, the child is going to be black. And so what K.Samuels was doing, he was talking to men about black men exercising their options with other ethnic groups. And some of our women, not all, but some got into their feelings because anytime black men say they want to exercise their option, then all of a sudden they're race traitors. But when you have women like Serena Williams, when you have other women that date white men or men for other ethnicities, no one says anything. And so I'm tired of black men dragging their knuckles to the ground. I'm tired of black men suffering in silence because of schema affliction, because they don't have the power to speak truth to their own convictions. I'm tired of black men not speaking out and telling people what they want and demanding it. As I said in the past, the power never conceded without a struggle. It never have, and it never will. And the only thing women respect is power and strength. That's the only thing they respect. Some of you men are afraid to go home because you're terrified by your wives. I don't get that. You are terrified by a woman that you vow to protect and love. But that's what happens when we don't have strong men, especially strong fathers in our homes. We don't have strong men and strong fathers because a lot of times our women choose dusty men. And because of those dusty men, we tend to make the men that the women hate. And so we're going to sit back and explore what happened in this show with the lead attorney. It's going to be a short clip where he was examining Suzette Speaks. And even though it was a 3-hour show, we're not going to look at the whole show. But I want you to ask yourself the question, was he wrong when he was cross-examining her? He was asking her, how can a woman of your prowess and your beauty be on the dating market? And the man was just asking fair questions. But there were some women that attacked the lead attorney because they felt like he was being too harsh, And so anytime a man speaks out, they say you're mansplaining. Anytime a man speaks out, they say, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. And I say this to all of our women. I'm going to be out of the country soon. When you go to other countries, what American men tolerate, other men don't tolerate. American women really have it made compared to other women because the things that we tolerate as American men, other ethnic men don't tolerate it. And that's why you should love your husbands and love American men, because American men are very balanced and egalitarian. But in other countries, men rule. They don't ask questions. They lead. They do what they want to do. And there's a such thing called femicide that my man Aguapo talked about. And those men actually killed their women. And I'm not advocating violence, but my point is this. We live in a world where fathers are not honored to the level that they should be honored. They are not respected to the level that they should be respected. And I promise you, when you look at these shows, one, when the lead attorney was dealing with Suzette Speaks, you're going to see that the lead attorney was very fair and balanced. You're going to see that he was just asking her basic questions. So we're going to look at that clip, but then also we're going to look at the clip with K.Samuels when he was talking to men that had a problem with black men dating women from other ethnic groups, whether it be African, Afro-Latin, white, Asian, or whatever. Because I'm a firm believer that men don't have to be loyal to people that are not loyal to them. Black men definitely shouldn't have to be. Because black men have been mules of society since pre-antebellum, also post-antebellum slavery. So once again, the question remains, guys. And I want you guys to get the likes up, and please like, share, and hit all notification buttons. If you have not donated, donate to $7 Smalls. Is black masculinity dead? If it is dead, will there be a revival? And also, the day before Halloween is K.Samuels the Boogey Man. Now listen, we're going to have another powerful show on tomorrow. I promise you, tomorrow, guys, you ain't going to want to miss the show on tomorrow. If you think I'm dropping some fire for your mind right now, I'm going to drop some heavy fire tomorrow. You're going to love this show. This is going to be a powerful show. And it's going to make sure the men get their options to live their lives in accordance to their own standards. I tell men all the time, if you find a woman that loves you, because there's some good women that come to this channel and they're trying to learn. So shout out to those sisters, the Miss Parkers of the world, the Dr. O's of the world, the Mika G's of the world, the Lulu Beans of the world. Shout out to those women. But there are some women that come to these men platforms, they're agitators. They don't mean us any good. Shout out to Dana Speaks. She seems like she's a good sister. But many of them don't come to these spaces to empower men. They come to study so they can manipulate. And I'm watching you. See, you can't run game on me. I'm very intuitive. So I want men to start loving themselves because there's a crisis in heteronormative masculinity. If you have to die for what you believe in men, you should die for it. You should never drag your knuckles as a man. When God made you, he made you the first fruit of his creation. So you should never have to drag your knuckles. Because I'm going to tell you something, women love masculine men. But the problem is men have never seen masculine men, therefore they reject it. That's why Raekwon the Man reject masculine men, because they never saw it, because they were the men in the families. So my whole point is it's time for men to stand up, because it appears that black masculinity is dead. It appears that many men have taken the black pill. It appears that many men have said that, you know what, enough is enough. The black community is dead. Let it burn to the ground. So I want you guys to look at this cross-examination by the lead attorney. Was the lead attorney right? Was the lead attorney wrong? Did the lead attorney do the right thing? Is K.Samuels the Boogey Man? Is any form of masculinity seen as toxic? Because until black men start understanding that in order to get power, you can't defer your power and give it away. And too many of our men have deferred their power trying to appease their woman, but it doesn't work. Women only look up to masculine men. That's why women like tall men. I'm 6'5", I'm 6'6" with shoes on. Women like masculine men. They want somebody they can look up to. They don't want to look down to a man. That's why they get repelled when men submit to their whims. They are tolerated, but they don't respect you. They respect the Raekwon the Man because Raekwon the Man don't validate them. It's behavioral modification. It's how a woman is modified. It's how she's trained. It's how she's trained to think. So I'm going to drop some fire for your mind in a minute, but I need you guys to get your notes out. I need you to inhale the good as a coping exercise, and I need you to exhale the bad. Because until we learn to detoxify our minds and the thinking errors that we have as a people, we will never have a vibrant community, more or less a vibrant black community. And there are many agitators that are hell-bent on destroying our community. So listen, we're going to check it out. And you tell me what you think. Because I think the lead attorney was fair. So you guys tell me what we think. We're going to check this quick clip out when he was talking to Suzette Speaks, the pretty lawyer. And you guys tell me what you think.
Any of that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you are dating, how do you meet these men that you are dating? Is it through these dating apps?
No, I think I should probably be on them, but no, I'm not. I have a lot of because I MC and I host, not now during COVID, but prior to, I meet a lot of people. So I'm on the scene. I'm around people, a lot, different types of people at different types of events. I meet people randomly. That also happens to me, maybe at a bowling alley or something like this. I think, just going
let me just ask you though, if you're really actively dating and looking for a man, why would you not use the dating apps?
I don't think it's a bad thing. I have in the past. I'm not currently on them. I have in the past, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's actually very helpful. And I know people who have married people they've met on those dating sites.
Yeah, so that's what I'm, I guess, trying to ask you, because if it's helpful, why aren't you on them?
I don't know.
And it's fine. Some people are like, I don't like them, but it seems like you're saying they're helpful, but then you're not on them.
Yeah, I don't have any rhyme or reason as to I'm against them, or just in this season, I have been focused on trying to build some couple other things, but I'm not on any actively right now, but I'm not against them.
Charlie asked a really good question that kind of dovetails into what we were just talking about. Says, listen, is marriage a priority for you at this point?
I think yes. I think.
Right, well, let me just push back on that though, because how can you say marriage, and we're, it's love, right? So I know. It's love. But how can you say that marriage is a priority for you when to get married, you need to meet someone?
Absolutely. And
to meet someone, a great way to do that is through the dating apps, and you're not on the dating apps. Well, which you say that are beneficial.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I have been relying a lot on matchmaking among friends and family. I have not been successful yet with any of those, but have been introduced to some really nice people. Some live too far. We're in different states. But I agree with you. I probably should get on it ASAP to make sure I'm not missing out on the eligible pool. I do agree with you. I think it is important. It's been kind of COVID-y and very this season, I've kind of just, been shifting, figuring out what I want to do. And some other projects have taken my attention, but I do agree with you.
What does COVID-y mean?
COVID-y means just reassessing and seeing what's important, seeing who, I think a lot of us went back and just looked at our past relationships or look at our current friendships and just kind of taking a step back. So I wasn't really like out there. Obviously 2020 wasn't really much out there, you know, to be had. But yeah, I was kind of like just reassessing, self-evaluating, you know, life. And in doing so, I'm just looking at life, you know, I guess more intentionally. But yes, one of the parts of life that I just been thinking about, that, you know, partnership for women particularly is very beneficial. And I don't think
that's the thing
that before.
Right. And I want to shout out my man Ant26. Says, hey, TLA. And see, this is the thing, right? Shout out to Ant26. He's always supporting your boy too, man. Thank you so much, Ant.
And see, guys, this is what happens. Regardless of what the lead attorney says, you know, he's very measured in his responses. And shout out to Gail Lockett. Gail Lockett is another sister that's an exemplar. She's another cool sister that's striving to understand men so she can get a good husband. I'm sure she's dating. But it really doesn't bother me, you know, when people get upset or unsubscribe because they don't like what I'm saying. I'm gonna stand firm in my truth, in the truth. If you got a problem with the truth, then this channel is not for you. It's time for men to be unapologetically masculine. It's time for men to stand firm in their convictions. Because see, the problem is a lot of times men lie to you women. They lie to you. They don't really tell you how they feel because they don't want to hurt your feelings. But men have created these spaces because we don't want to lie to you. Technically, in these spaces, we ask the women just listen and observe and take notes. But, you know, I'm very fair. I allow women to talk in a man's space because I know there's some good women that are trying to learn. But, you know, I saw the lead attorney, and he was on a sister show. He said he feels like that only 20% of modern women are good women. And I almost believe that. I think it's hard to find good traditional women that want to be cooperative and to cooperate with their man. And you saw how he was cross-examining this sister and talking to her. He was fair. And what I've learned is this, guys, regardless of how you tell the truth, some folks will always have an issue with it. You can say it good, you can say it soft, or you can say it whatever. Regardless of however you say it, folks can always have an issue with how you say the truth because we live in a time when folks don't love the truth. They get in their feelings, very sensitive, very thin-skinned. And because of that, they'll never grow and learn. Keep listening.
Says, hey, TLA, listen, let's just get right to it. All right, for Suzette, question. Are you putting in the same effort to become a wife?
And guys, share the content. Please share this content. Get the likes up.
Why should you get the outcome that you desire? And let me say this. I think this is a perfect question. He's asking it in a much more straightforward way that I'm kind of asking it. But it's like, listen, if you're saying that being a wife is a priority and you are saying that the dating apps, you know, is a great way to meet people, but you're not on them, why should you expect to get any outcome? You know, if you're putting this effort into, you know, you mentioned your other projects that you're having right now. I would imagine you're putting effort into those projects, but you're not. Are you putting the same effort in becoming a wife? Because you say, oh yeah, you know, that is a good idea. Maybe I should do this. Or that is a good idea. Maybe I should do that. But it kind of seems like there's not a lot of effort being put forth to it.
I definitely understand your point, and I definitely gather the crux of the question, which is effort in your eyes. I'm asking would mean getting on the apps, constantly looking for a man. Is that what effort?
Effort means making yourself available to the reasonably largest pool that you can, so that you can meet. So, all right, here's the issues: is that when you listed your list of a good man, every element that you listed combined with
and see, that's the problem, guys. I don't have a problem with women saying that she has standards. It doesn't bother me at all. I think women should have standards. A woman should say, this is what I want in a man, and it's not. I don't have a problem with it. But as soon as a man starts saying he has standards, meaning her weight got to be on point, she can't have had a lot of fun, or some guys call ran through, or a bunch of kids by a lot of different men, then all of a sudden it's a problem. You hate black women, and your mama is black, but your daddy is black. What's your point? We live in a world now where we tend to build our women at the expense of our fathers. And see, the problem that I have, guys, is this. Some of the women that's listening to this or listen to in these men's spaces, they say they are Christians, but the gospel clearly says wives or children, obey your fathers first. Honor thy father and thy mother, not honor thy mother and thy father. You're supposed to honor the father first because the man came first. But we don't value our men. And we wonder why men don't care anymore. We wonder why men don't have sympathy. We wonder why men have become black pilled in their thinking. They've taken the black pill of death because they don't find women to be feminine anymore. Men are leaving this country and traveling abroad. And I'm going to be out of the country soon at some point. I'm going to be with the Brotherhood. We're going to be commemorating Charles Tyler's death. And I'm going to be in the movie Frustrated 3 with my man Al Grease, playing the chopper with my man Aaron Ferris, my man Deacon Eric Spencer, because black men are saying enough is enough. They are saying, give me liberty or give me death. And once again, the lead attorney, when he was talking to this woman, he was very fair in his jurisprudence. He didn't castigate this woman, but there were women that had issues with him asking her about questions. And see, guys, you see the evidence. You can talk to a woman in a calm spirit or you can talk aggressive. It doesn't matter. Because some, not all of our women, but some are deaf. Keep listening.
The others, it means that the pooler got smaller and smaller and smaller. If you just say that you want somebody compassionate, fine, it's here. But then you want somebody that's hardworking, and you want somebody that's caring, right? You want somebody that's dedicated, right? And then I don't know, maybe you want somebody that's black. And you mentioned that there's competition, right? So it goes smaller and smaller and smaller. So now you're left with this little pool. And so for this pool that you have to get into to make yourself available, you have dating apps which can inject you into this pool. You're like, no, that's a good idea. I
don't mean it with that nonchalantness. I don't mean it with that at all. I told you I've used it before.
Right, but you also said that
Yeah,
you said that you met some of your friends are married because of the apps. And so this is what Ant is saying. He's like, listen, if some of your friends are married because of the apps,
get on it.
And you know the apps. Yeah. Well, so it's interesting that people have to tell you to get on the apps, but people don't have to tell you to do your projects.
Right.
People don't have to tell you to go to court. People don't have to tell you to go into the office.
Yeah.
Like you're on point when it goes to going into your office. You're on point when it goes to going to court. But when it's to come to find a husband, it's, oh yeah, you're right. The apps. Do you see where people are coming from?
No, I totally agree. Again, I'm nervous, but never been married, no kids.
And the reason why that happens, because we don't value masculinity. And we don't value men, but also we don't value the family. And that's what happens when we live in a society where marriage rates are plummeting. Many men are disinterested in marriage. 29% of our boys or men are virgins. And that's what happens when you put, put careers over family. I'm not against a woman getting her career. I'm not against it at all. But your career is not going to sustain you in your latter years. Yes, you can make money, but human beings weren't meant to be alone. I get it. If you don't want to be married and have a legacy, that's fine. I don't knock that. Shout out to my man James Pittman for the $20 super chat. Thank you, brother. And to the guys that have not donated, please donate to the channel. If you have not, share the content. If you can't or don't have any money, please share the content. I want to see black men in power. I want to see all men in power, black men and white men. And I believe if we empower our men, then we can love our women better, because women only respect power and strength. So I want to ask you guys a question. That was just a short synopsis by the lead attorney. He was cross-examining Suzette Speaks. Hold tight. Because I don't think the brother did anything wrong. I think the brother was fair. But if you think that the lead attorney was wrong in his cross-examination of Suzette Speaks, I want everybody to hit 1 if you think he was wrong. But if you think he was fair and just, I want you to hit 2. And once you share the content, please hit 3 and also hit all notifications, because I got some fire content coming out for you guys real soon. I'm about to leave the country, but I might be filming also when I'm in Brazil. So I got some fire content because I love the brotherhood. I don't want to see men suffering in silence. I want to see men empowered, because many times we don't care nothing about men. We don't care about Father's Day. Fathers get goofy gifts on Father's Day, but this is the channel where every day is Father's Day. Every day is Father's Day when you come on my channel, because I celebrate manhood, but also I celebrate masculinity, and also I celebrate good women. I celebrate good cooperative women that want to get with a good cooperative man, because men and women both submit. A lot of women get triggered when they hear that dirty word submission, but guess what? Men submit too. Men submit by providing, protecting, and giving their life. That's the ultimate gift that a man can give a woman, is his life. If you look at the lexicon in the dictionary about the word submit, it means to agree. That's all it means, is to agree. So I want you guys to ask yourself the question, was the lead attorney fair? Because I think he was fair. I didn't have an issue with what he said. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Anytime black men stand up and demand what they want, it's a problem. And I want you guys to ask yourself the question, how many times have y'all been attacked in relationships? How many times as men have you all been attacked for taking a stand for what you believe in? How many times have your sisters and your mothers tried to shame you into submission? Because every time you defer and bow as a man, you're submitting to that woman. Women want, as I said again, a masculine man. Every now and then a woman wants a man to check her. Women love to feel protected. And let me tell you something. There have been women that are feminists. When they get with a masculine man, they'll submit. Because it's in their nature to defer to their man. But also it's in their nature to rebel and test you. And that's why as a man, you got to always stand on your square. I'm not saying you got to be a tyrant or a dictator, but you got to always stand on your square. Now, the second question remains. Looking at what everybody's saying, you guys are saying that based on the information, that it's a 2. Right, it's a 2. I don't think the lead attorney was wrong. I think the lead attorney was fair. He's a very balanced man. He's one of the more balanced men that I know. He might get a little erratic sometime and cuss, but for the most part, he's very low-key, very kind, he's a nice guy. You know, it doesn't mean that he can't be a man, because I've seen him get fiery at times. But he tries to be very diplomatic in his pronouncements. So I dressed down today. I said, I'm going to look rugged. I'm going to look like a lumberjack today. I didn't want to put on no suit and tie. I said, no, I'm going to look like Raekwon the Man with a hat on today. You know, I didn't want to get all jiggy. Because I want to see men empowered. And this is a show and a channel that you're not going to find in too many spaces, a channel that is not only, you're getting content from a licensed therapist, but also you're getting content from a man's man. So the next question is K.Samuels the Boogey Man? And then we're going to have a discussion. I'm going to drop the link, and I want the men to come up and talk. Is K.Samuels the Boogey Man? If you think K.Samuels is the Boogey Man, I want you to put 1. If you think K.Samuels is misunderstood, but he's a decent man, I want you to put 2. If you think K.Samuels is mostly 100% right, I want you to put 3. Because it's time for men to stand up. And like my man D said, you're correct. They're not getting married in Sweden either. You're correct. Because this is not just a black man issue. It's a woman issue. Most countries that have been infected by liberal feminist policies, they have issues with their men. They want their men to be subjugates to them. And what I've learned is that women don't respect beta men or weak men. They respect masculine men. If you got a woman that's not honoring you as a man, if you got a woman that's not listening to you and following your program, come up with an exit strategy, because you are suffering in silence, and that's not good for your mental health. Listen to this. Men die off earlier than women. Men tend to die earlier than women. And when you're constantly stressed out, guess what you're doing? You are slowly but surely getting closer to the grave. Did you guys know that there are many men in the grave right now that have died because they were broken? They died because they didn't have nobody to talk to. They are dead because they had high blood pressure and they had heart attacks. You can hear the echoes. You can hear the echoes from the grave site because they died with dreams deferred. They died because the preachers didn't take a stand on what godliness is. They died because the preachers didn't preach the objective gospel. They died because men were not celebrated in male spaces. See, men just want to be loved. Men want to be respected and honored too. I'm not against female empowerment. I think our women should be empowered. But they should never be empowered to be depowered to the expense that they more or less defy their men. So we're going to look at this next clip by K.Samuels, because that was just a short snippet of the lead attorney when he was talking to Suzette Speaks. And the only thing the brother was asking about, look, why aren't you prioritizing marriage and relationships? Why do so many of our women wait so long to get married? Only to start rushing as they're about to cross the finish line because they want to freeze their eggs, because then they prioritize marriage and family over their career. I'm not against, as I said earlier, a woman getting her career. I'm not against it at all. But why don't you prioritize your family? Because at the end of the day, on your deathbed, you're not taking those degrees with you. And some of that is what I call vicarious trauma. Some of our women are dealing with vicarious trauma from the afflictions of their mothers because their mothers got with dusty men that didn't provide and protect them. And so because of that, some of the women start saying, I'm a strong, independent woman and I don't need a man. And that's a thinking error. That's trauma. No woman in her right mind to say, I'm strong and independent, because no one's 100% independent. A woman should learn how to remodify her thinking processes and say, I'm going to be soft and self-sufficient, which is a byproduct of independence, until God bless me with my man. Because in relationships, you want to cooperate. I'm going to be strong, women, and self-sufficient until I get my man. Because see, self-sufficiency and independence really is the same. But the word independence carries a greater connotation when instead of saying I'm soft and self-sufficient. Because your strength is not you competing with your man. Your strength, women, is your femininity. When you have a soft voice. When you know how to lose your soft skills. When you know how to speak life into a good man, not a dusty man. Because see, as a masculine man, I don't tolerate dusty men. I don't endorse dusty, lying, ain't-ish men. I don't tolerate or more or less endorse those kind of men. I hold myself accountable. I'm not a perfect man. I got flaws. So you're not going to hear me on this platform acting like I'm a saint. I'm not. I got flaws, but I'm a good man. So I don't exonerate dusty men that talk from two sides of their mouth. I don't exonerate people that talk God, but at the same time, they're not living it based on what they're saying. It's one thing to fall into sin, it's another thing to continue in sin. So I don't respect people like that because they're hypocrites. So we're going to ask ourselves the question once again about K.Samuels. Is K.Samuels the Boogeyman? Tomorrow is Halloween. Tomorrow is Halloween. And a lot of times when men take a stand on what they believe in, even our women say, he gets on my nerves. How many men have been in relationships where the woman say, he gets on my nerves? Because they're not used to men standing up and speaking with authority. Some of you women say y'all love Jesus. Y'all say, oh, I love the Lord. Not the Lord, but the law in the South. Some of y'all say y'all love the law. But if Jesus was living, some of y'all would hate him too. Because when Jesus saw the woman at the well, the gospel say he spoke with great power and conviction. He spoke with great authority. He didn't tell the woman, he said, little woman, get up. A dear, please get up. He said, woman, get up. And he said, don't you do it again. So some of you women that say you love Jesus, y'all would hate Jesus if Jesus was living now. Because he spoke with great power and he spoke with great conviction. So I want you to listen to this diatribe by K.Samuels and listen to how some of these men are so broken and browbeaten. They're dragging their knuckles on the ground because they don't speak with power and convictions. I want you guys to listen to this. Because I think what K.Samuels is saying is 100% correct. You don't have to agree with everything K.Samuels says. I don't agree with everything he says. I don't agree 100% with what no man says. But when a man is right, a man is right. And our women need to start competing on the open market if they want good men. Listen to this.
Have enough in the black community for the amount of black men that want to be married.
Not even close.
Well, then then the only answer is the men don't marry or they expand their pool of dating women. That's the only answer. There are only two answers. It's binary. It's not philosophical. It's real simple.
And I agree with you.
And anything after that is cart before the horse. Worrying about letting them know that they have the choice to choose. You can't do that, man. You can't worry about all that. You talk about it. That's the best you can do. I think we try to overcomplicate things, guys. I really think we try to overcomplicate things. Anthony. Myron, your hand is your stuff is gone. I mean, I guess you could put it. I mean, no. All jokes aside, I guess you could put it on the billboard. Put it on the billboard. Unmute yourself. Myron.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. How are you?
Good, man. How are you, Kevin?
I'm good. How old are you?
Meet you. 42.
All right. So what's the issue?
41.
So what's the issue?
Man, it's hard to say there's an issue, what you're saying, because everything you're saying is spot on. But my issue is, why not look at overseas like African women? We don't have to just leave our black sisters. We can still hang with we can go Caribbean.
What does the average black man?
Afro-Latino.
Hold on. What does the average black man in this country earn annually?
Like you said, around 40,000.
How's that man going to date internationally?
There are ways.
No, sir. $21 an hour.
Yes, sir.
That's living paycheck to paycheck. So
you're right.
Let's stop the cap.
That is.
Let's stop the cap.
There's no cap on that.
So how do they date internationally? If you can't travel internationally.
That's true. They have to be able to travel.
Thank you very much. No travel.
That's true.
Thank you. We always talk.
That's true. You're right.
I know. I mean, I guess, and it's like, and I think it's interesting that we have to resort to things like that. It's like, why are black men who care being forced to try to leave the country? Why isn't the country trying to just get better why aren't the women in the country trying to get better for the black men who want them? I mean, I guess that's my ultimate question: is all the stir and dry, all the why black this and the money and this that. Where are the women with this amount of vigor and veheance saying we need to do something to keep our black men? Where are their conversations? Or y'all really not going to accept the fact that they ain't fighting like y'all are fighting? And
they're not saying it because they don't value black men. Many American women don't value men, period. They see men as goofy. Anytime you look at TV shows, you see the man is dumb and goofy. He don't know what he's doing, which is very misandric. He's dragging his knuckles. He's bound to his woman. He's stupid. The woman knows everything because they don't value men. I understand what Kevin is doing. Kevin is trying to build the black community from within. But I like what the lead attorney said on some lady's show. I can't think what it was, but he was saying that he only believes that there's about 20% of solid good women. And I think he's about right. I think the pickings are slim. Are there a few good sisters out there like the Gail Lockers of the world and the Mika G's and the Miss Parker Back to Bakes and the Dr. O's? Just a few of them. But overall, I've been in these spaces a long time and I study women. A lot of them are very toxic. They're very hard to get along with, very masculine, very entitled. They practice kosher. I mean, they don't practice kosher hypergamy. They practice carnal hypergamy because they're very exploitative. They see the man as a commodity only to be discarded when they get sick of him. When that man loses his job or he can no longer provide, they'll get rid of him in a heartbeat. So I tell men to go to countries where they're celebrated. Are women overbroad? Do they got issues too? Yes. But those women tend to be more kosher hypergamy. Because see, a woman wanting a man to provide for her and to protect and to love her, that's fair. I said in the past, there's no robbery and fair exchange. But carnal hypergamy is when a woman uses manipulation, exploitation, and she'll just step on a man and discard him like a toilet tissue. That's wrong. So keep listening to what Kevin is saying because he's making some good points because many see him as the boogeyman.
That may be an overstatement. Are they fighting like you are fighting? Are you fighting like you're fighting? Or are they just saying black girl magic when Serena got married? Yay! And again, I said it before and I say it again, just because you expand your options don't mean you're going to be able to do it. But the kind of man who wants to be married and have children and who can expand his option is a man of value. And a man of value should be able to find a wife and have a family. All right. German, go ahead. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me?
How old are you?
I'm 31.
All right, what's the issue?
Well, my issue is I don't think that women can really compete with other well, for example, the way I grew up, my sisters, my mother was a country lady. She grew up in the country in Dominican Republic, and
what
I remember my sister.
What's the issue though?
Well, the issue is, I don't think modern women can really serve their men, so the men can actually do the work to have better outcomes.
That's not this topic.
Oh, okay.
All right. Different.
Dang. All right.
Different topic. This is not just what's going on with women, and it's a very specific topic. I mean, I'm trying to see whether you agree with me or disagree with me. I come at this thing from a market sense, and if you want to compete for somebody to buy your product, you need to give the product they want. Christian, unmute yourself.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing this evening?
I'm well. How old are you?
28.
What's the issue?
I agree with you, and economically I understand, but there's an emotional part to it where there has to be a drive and desire to really date out. And,
hold on, your fingernails painted?
Yeah.
Why?
Seal.
Seal?
Seal.
Seal, what does that mean?
No, the singer. Seal.
Seal, the singer?
Yeah.
You painted your fingernails because of Seal?
No, for my own interpretation, but
I'm just asking. I just asked you why they were painted. You just said Seal, so I don't know what that means.
well, I was shorthanding my explanation because I know you. Yeah.
I'm just asking. So there has to be an emotional component to want to do what?
Well, to really date outside the race, and
do you want to be? Do you want to be married?
Yeah, I was raised Baptist, Christian, Protestant. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you want children?
Yeah, that was the original desire.
Do you want your son to paint his fingernails?
If he so desires, but
okay. I'm just asking, guy, because there's an emotional component. What's the emotional component you're talking about?
Drive, desire. You know, the want to actually date outside the race, and you know, it's been instilled in us that if we do that, it's a thing. So I don't think men are going to want to do that.
Well, it doesn't matter what you want to do.
And listen to what this poor soul said. This poor little young man. He said it's been instilled that we don't date outside of the race. You know, it's a shame that modern women demand expectations, but when men say, you know what, I'm going to start what's better than us, they've been so conditioned that if they go outside the status quo, that they're going to be punished. That's really sad. So many men are weak because they're more concerned about what people think instead of being more concerned about what God thinks or what other men think. Men, start standing firm in your convictions. Don't let nobody stop you from being the man that God made you to be. If you want to date a woman from another ethnic group, then so be it. If she's Asian, African, Afro-Latin, you know, my preference is black women. I got a black wife. But at the same time, if another woman loves you and treats you well and values you as a man, after you tried to find women from other ethnic groups, this Afro or Afro-Latin, you go where your heart leads you. Go where you're celebrating instead of being tolerated. Keep listening.
If you want to get married and have children and they're not women who look like you, who share your reflection, who want to marry you, what are your options?
Yeah.
No, what are they? I need to hear that.
Date outside the race or stay single.
Or make so much money that you can actually move, travel, and date internationally and find somebody outside of this country who shares your reflection. But that requires putting yourself in the top 10% of earners.
And look what Kevin says, shares your reflection. And listen, I don't necessarily think you got to be in the top 10% per se. You could be in the top 20%. If you manage your money right, if you live beneath your means, you can buy properties abroad. But look what he said, reflection. Men should get with women that reflect them because the woman is the moon and the man is the sun. Keep it listening.
which I think is an exceptionally heavy lift to ask for most men just to find a goddamn wife.
It is.
So where are the women who are talking about this emotional component to stay with men that look like you so you don't have to become a millionaire to find a wife?
They aren't. They're exercising their options. Even when I was
but they don't feel guilty about it either. And that darn sure not sitting around all the emotional shit.
Yeah.
All right. Again, I'm still yet to hear a argument that makes a lot of sense. KS Superfan, but that was a bit disingenuous rebuttal by Kevin. He acts like he acts like there aren't African, Haitian, Caribbean women living in the U.S. African women, no, they're just not enough. Not disingenuous. It's called math.
It's not enough. I agree.
Just because, I mean, I'm sorry, but I do respect. Who is this? Mr. Deontay Roman. If you live in a large metropolitan area that's diverse, you may have Haitian, African, and Caribbean women. I'm from Oklahoma. There are no real Caribbean, Haitians, Africans, few. The majority of this country is unpopulated. And there are not enough African, Haitian, or Caribbean women who aren't married to African, Haitian, or Caribbean men to put up for 20 million, well, we're 40 million people, for all the adult black men of marrying age. Math is not disingenuous. We could try though. Trying to make, I know black women are here. I know there are Haitian women here. Not enough. I mean, but if I missed the logic on that, please somebody correct me. If I missed the logic on that, please. I don't see enough of these women here. And if they were enough of these non-ADOS black women here, why are so many black men talking about going overseas?
Right, and we're gonna have a show on tomorrow. I plan to have my man Al Grease. I'm in the house if I can, and I'm gonna be doing a show with my man Aaron Ferris from Black Men Travels. I plan to do a show with him on tomorrow. So guys, go support Aaron Ferris from Black Men Travels. He just did an interview with O'Shea Duke Jackson. I plan to be on his show tomorrow, and I plan to have a powerful show on tomorrow. You guys gonna love it, especially when you see the thumbnail. Keep listening.
I think this conversation is going to be a good one to get started, because what I am seeing is a lot, and this is what I knew was going to happen. I have always said that the problem we're experiencing in the black community is not that black men don't want to be married. I know we have lots of good, solid, decent black men who in years gone by would have been married. Today, we have more black men who are husbands than we have black women who are wives.
I agree.
And I'm sorry, black men. You got to stop feeling guilty about the fact that there are not enough wives for the men who want to be husbands. Their mothers, their cultures, they don't make themselves the wives. How can you fix that? I'm willing to listen though. Randall, no microphone connected. Michael, no picture. Go ahead. I'll take a few more and I got to go. Hello.
How you doing, Kevin?
I am well. How old are you?
I am 35.
Okay, so what's the issue?
My issue is, I feel like as a man, we're supposed to want the best for ourselves. I don't understand why so many callers are giving all these reasons and putting up so much resistance.
You don't have an issue with
thing for themselves.
You don't have an issue with what I'm saying, though.
No.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Okay, good. Okay, appreciate it. I want to get to the people who have an issue with what I'm saying. I'll answer that question, though, in general. In general, my personal belief, I have nothing to substantiate this on, but as boys who were raised in a gynocracy, no men in the household. Think about it. 80% of the children born in this country, in the Black community, are born to single mothers. The first teachers of Black men are your mothers, your sisters, your cousins, your aunties, your nephew, your niece. I mean, them.
Well, here's how I would parrot that. The woman is the first teacher only after she's been taught the program of her husband. So the man teaches the woman his program, and then the woman teaches the children the program of the man. That's order. But he's correct in the sense that many of our boys have never seen masculine authority. They don't know what it looks like. So they're getting their instructions from their mothers. They're not getting their instructions from masculine men. If they had masculine men in their lives, the masculine men would tell them, boy, you stand on principles. If that woman doesn't honor you and respect you, you get rid of her. I keep telling men over and over again, in clinical therapy, there's a such thing called behavior modification. Every time you give your power away to anybody, the person that's giving the power away is negative reinforcement for them. But the person that's receiving the power is positive reinforcement. In a relationship, it should be where it's mutually beneficial, not mutually exclusive. The man and the woman should be benefiting. But so many men have been conditioned to, be traditional, while women can choose to be modern or traditional. And many times, if you talk to a woman about being traditional, she says that you're trying to treat her like a slave. But if a man is expected to give his life at any time, is that not a slave? Is that not a servant? Dr. T.S. Johnson created a term called the concuserve, meaning he's seen as a concubine, somebody needs to please her sexually, but also a servant. I created a term called the commodification of subjugation as it relates to solipsism, meaning it's all about her. And I'm trying to tell men it's where you get your power when you make her respect you as a man. Your love currency is respect. Keep it listening.
Then you go to daycare. Those are women. When's the last time you saw a male kindergarten teacher? Especially a Black male kindergarten teacher. When is the first time many Black boys see a Black man in a position of authority in his day-to-day life? Possibly in elementary school, possibly, but much more likely in junior high or high school. And that is likely coming along athletics. By this time, you've already lived a life to where women control the world. Women are like mothers are like little gods.
And Kevin is right. I taught school. My background is very diverse. I worked in law enforcement. I got my first degree in law enforcement. I worked in youth development. I worked in the prison system as a mental health correction officer. I got my generalist degree in social work. Then I went back and I taught school for 5 years as a special ed teacher. And then I got my master's from UNC Chapel Hill. So I'm very diverse and I've seen it. That's why I became a therapist, because when I was a teacher, there was not enough presence of a strong masculine presence. And let me tell you guys something. I got in trouble many times because many times they wanted to make me be like them. They wanted to take a 6'5" man that's a lion and turn him to a kitten. Won't gonna happen. I lost many jobs because the same way I am now is the same way I've always been. I stand firm in my convictions as a man. Whether I win, lose, or draw in a physical debate, win, lose, or draw, and I don't plan to lose, I stand strong in my convictions as a man. And so many times when men stand strong in their convictions and they take a stand, many times our women and sometimes the men, because they've been conditioned to be blue pill simps, they get offended by it. And that's what you're hearing from these poor, pathetic excuses of a man. Keep it listening.
It's in a household of kids. There's an entire school of thought behind this. So it's not a stretch for Black men to feel like they're being disloyal to mama and the women who made it possible for him to even exist. What's the disagreement, though? Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. How old are you?
I am 35.
Okay. What's the disagreement?
Right. So my disagreement with you is, as a whole, I don't agree. I don't think that Black men.
Shout out to L Boogie for the $5 super chat. No doubt, brother. Thank you for that super chat. And you're correct. I'm dropping 5 for your mind. Shout out once again to my man L Boogie. If you guys have not donated, please donate to $7 Smalls. And also, please share the content and hit all the notification buttons. About 55 people liking. Get the likes up. Share this content if you don't have anything to donate to the channel. I love you guys, and I'm honored for everything that you guys are doing. So shout out once again to my man L Boogie. Shout out to him. Fire for your mind. Shout out to him. So we're the kosher clinician. Listening. Hold tight.
Should be looking to date out. That is the disagreement that I have with you, and I can explain why if you like.
No, I didn't say they should be anything. Where did I say they should be? I
guess in terms of expanding your options, right? Because that's the whole notion.
In terms of expanding their options, if a Black man is of marriage material, are there enough Black women in this country for them?
Yes.
Really? Please substantiate that by the numbers.
Right.
Please substantiate that by the numbers.
So there is a very large pool of single Black women
childless
who would prefer to
childless
Black husbands.
Childless.
It's a split.
No. No other group of men have to go to baby mamas to stay race loyal. Nope.
I'll give you that one. I'll give you that for sure.
In other words, you're already putting Black men as stepdaddies for the race.
No, I'm not saying that they would need to.
No, you said that there's a split. Okay, no. For a Black man who's a marriage-minded, marriageable, you said there's enough women. If there's enough women, we wouldn't have to split shit. We wouldn't have to age gap. We wouldn't have to go to baby mamas. We should have enough. Do we have enough single, childless, fit, cooperative women who are wives?
And the answer is no. This man said we got a segment of single women that are fit, cooperative, and wives. Listen, what my dad got, and my dad is 78 years old. My mom and dad been married for over 50 years. My dad got a virgin. My dad got a woman with no children. My dad got a woman that was wife ready. Men there are expected to give traditional standards. They don't even get that. That was just a basic standard about 50 years ago. But you got men that feeling bad because they make $50,000 a year. You got men that feel bad because they're not tall enough. And every time you men submit your power, it doesn't make that woman respect you. Look at this poor excuse of a man. And he doesn't know any better because he probably was raised without a strong father. But keep listening.
I believe.
Please substantiate that by the numbers.
Again, we're talking about men who can
fit, childless, cooperative. What percentage of Black women? What percentage of women in this Black women in this country are classified as overweight?
I think it's somewhere between, by definition, about 70%.
70, 80%. So that means you're already dealing with 20 to 30% if you want women who are a healthy weight.
Right.
That means, no, sir. We're going to do this by numbers. So, sir, you're looking at men who have to take from 100% of adult women, already got to chop it down to 20 to 30% just on fitness alone. Right there, sir, shows you there are not enough women. If fitness for being a wife is a criteria, it's already over. Can you at least admit, can we at least admit that? Can we at least admit that?
Yeah, no.
Okay, so in order to in order to accept the number you want to put forward, we must accept all women, regardless.
Shout out to Black Man 316 for the $5 super chat. Brother, you get an applause. Thank you, brother. Thank you for that super chat. Guys, in a few minutes, we're going to have a discussion because I have to go to my office in a few minutes to see patients. But we're going to have a discussion in a few minutes because I love the brotherhood. I'm not doing this with no malice or forethought. I'm not doing this trying to get rich, because you won't get rich doing this. But I do this because I love the brotherhood. But also I do it because I want to see men liberated. Regardless of their race, color, or creed, I want to see all men liberated, but especially black men. Keep listening.
It's a fitness level. Is that what you're trying to say?
What I'm saying is that we start this conversation talking about
in order to get to the number of women you say there are out there for the kind of men I'm talking about, we must accept all women regardless of fitness level.
But does that mean that all men, regardless
level, that is what women do. That's that whataboutism. You're losing if you can't. I'm sorry. Are you saying in order to get to the number of in order to get to the number of viable, marriageable women, we must accept all of them regardless of fitness level? That's either a yes or no. It has nothing to do with what the men are. It's a yes or a no.
For me, no.
It's not for you. You're not, no. It's not for just you. See, it's not for just you. You said there are plenty of women. And are you saying in order to get to the plenty of women, we must accept all women regardless of fitness level?
Men got to get in where they fit in.
Exactly right. Thank you. Black men, that's what I want you to understand. Automatically off the rip, you're supposed to accept less. You're supposed to make a fitness somebody else's child. No.
And he's correct. How many women say, he got to be tall, he got to be making six figures, and he got to be able to lay the wood in the bedroom? I saw a woman on the show, shout out to my man, I think Drago's Flame. He was saying she was 600 pounds, and she was talking about what she wanted. If you take at least 7% of some of these women in America with their nasty attitudes, they won't make it in other countries. Even the ones that say that they're celebrated by other men in other countries, no, they're not. The women that got their stuff together are celebrated. Those are above average women, but the average to below average women, they will be invisible in other countries. I saw it firsthand when I was in Brazil. Because those women know that they got to compete for their men. They just can't come to the table with anything. And I came out of high school in the class of 90. And in the class of 90, the women knew they had to compete. But nowadays, you got a bunch of entitled women. You got a bunch of weak-minded men. And they don't demand anything. My standards were very high to the point that some women wouldn't even look at me and talk to me because I had very, very high standards. A woman had to come correct if she was going to be in my circle. And still have to come correct if I was a single man. But this is a bad example of what I call an unconscious simp. He supplements irrational male patterns because he's not a man. He's a male. He supplements irrational male patterns. And because of that, women don't respect men like him because he doesn't require anything. Keep listening.
No, I'm going to try to get you to do it again. I said for the black men out here who are marriageable, marriage-minded and desiring marriage, are there enough black women to be wives? You said there are. And I said, okay. Yes. All right. Please substantiate that by the numbers. Look at the numbers. If fitness is a criteria a man wants in his wife, and if 70 to 80% of our women are overweight, that means you got 20 to 30%. Are we saying that a man must accept 100% of all single women, regardless of fitness level, even if that's a criteria he's choosing by? You're accepting raw numbers. This is a man who wants you to expect raw numbers, regardless as to standards. That's why I did this over and over again. That's bullshit, sir.
No, what I'm saying is, Mr. Samuels, that there are also men out there who are looking for wives who are in very bad position themselves. So in what sense?
Let's do this. So you are going to some myopic, minuscule.
Listen to what this poor man said. Women that are in very bad situations themselves. Listen, a woman don't want a broke man. A woman don't want a broken man. Most women won't date you if you broke. Most women are not going to marry you if you laying on the couch living at your mom's house. Women want men that can provide and protect. Most women, there are a few women that will look over that, but most women are not. There are exceptions to the rule, but the rule is that most women want a man that's on this square and they're waiting at the finish line once you reach excellence. But the key is, what is that woman giving that man in return? As I said earlier, guys, there is no robbery with fair exchange. It's no robbery. What is that woman giving that man in return? Because like I said, some of these women are very predatory and some of these men are predators as well. Keep listening.
Point to not be proven wrong. You want to go to the guy? No, I want you to be clear. To make your argument, you're saying there are guys out there who want women in bad positions. Is that really what we're going to do? No, sir. Is that what we're going to do? Is that how we're going to have this conversation based in tangentials and scatter points? Is that what we're going to do?
No, that's not the way I'm taking this conversation.
Okay. Are there for the black men who want to be married and want to be fathers and have a family, who have jobs, who are fully employed, who are solid middle class citizens, are there enough wives, marriageable women fit to be wives? Not just female.
I believe the answer is yes.
Okay. Now, if you put, and just on a raw number, but if we factor in anything, fitness, children.
Already this poor man is in ignorance because when he say fit to be a wife, meaning she's been trained to be a wife. With 80% of our children being born in single parent homes, how can she be fit to be a wife? Being a wife means she has to be mentally fit to be a wife. She needs to be physically fit to be a wife. Also, she needs to be a woman that has not given away her virtue. So this poor man is ignorant. He's been conditioned to accept less instead of demanding the best. And what I'm trying to teach men is this: when you're working your ass off to become your best, you need to demand the best. You need to demand the best from women that you're dealing with, because guess what? They're going to demand it from you. So you need to demand the best. If she's not willing to follow your program, you get rid of her. You don't even tolerate it. You don't argue with her. You just get rid of her, keep stacking your paper, stay in shape, and realize there's better over yonder. Because there are women that will treat you like the men that you are. Not suckers, but I'm talking about men that have been working their behinds off. But this poor man is deluded. He's deaf. He denies the evidence. He becomes enraged when you present him with the facts. He argues with the messenger instead of arguing the facts, and he fights you or flees. He's dealing with cognitive dissonance. And we have a lot of mental illness in the black community because our men have been conditioned to be slaves instead of being men.
How does that impact the number that you say is yes?
The number shrinks.
So if we just use fitness, because it's the one thing that we can prove. If you factor in fitness, just baseline fitness, are the remaining women enough for the men seeking wives?
If those men are themselves fit, yes.
Again, that is, I'm going to say something, sir. That's that whataboutism that comes from the gynocracy. That's the female mindedness right there. That's the female mind. That's just whataboutism. Yeah, but if the man got to be fit too. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. And I want you to understand that that's exactly what I was talking about. How when we are as men raised under women, we will twist ourselves into knots to not go against mama.
And Kevin is correct. He's 100% correct. That's negative socialization. That is negative socialization. No other men in other countries tolerate what black men in America tolerate, or even American men, white or black. It's negative socialization, which means that they've been conditioned to serve the woman based on her feelings instead of serving himself based on principle. Men do things based on principles, not on feelings. I don't care nothing about a woman's feelings if her feelings supersede my principles as a man. If I get with a woman and she respects my principles as a man, guess what? I'm a lover. I'm going to care about her feelings, and I'll die for her if I have to. I'll put my life on the line for a woman that loves me, honors me, and respects me. But my love currency is respect and my principles. Even the gospel says that heaven and earth will pass away, but my word will stand forever. A man's word is all he got. Listen, guys, I grew up in a time where men would say word is bond. Word is bond meant you stood on your word regardless what, because your word is your name. But men now don't have any stand. They just accept anything. And they've been so conditioned to be weak. And half of the women you're dealing with, they're not even high quality women. You guys don't know what high quality is. You guys have been so conditioned to deal with mediocre women that you just tolerate anything. Half the women now, they're talking about what they deserve. They would have been excoriated or been pariahs 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. They wouldn't have been looked at. Women that had children by multiple men were humble women. Women that were 600 pounds were humble because they knew they had to come to the table bringing something. We call women that want to cook for their men and serve their men pick-me's. But guess what? Your grandmama was a pick-me. Your grandma knew that she had to bring something to the table in order to get a decent man. But nowadays, if a woman cooked for a man, she's a slave. But she still expects that man to bow for her. Shout out to my man, Fuma King, for the $5 super chat. Thank you, brother. You can contact me at kosherclinician@gmail.com. Contact me at kosherclinician@gmail.com. And I'm going to drop some fire for your mind. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Fire. Email me at kosherclinician@gmail.com for non-diagnostic consultations. I need you guys to get in therapy. You guys need therapy, some of you. And like I said, I do non-diagnostic consultations. Now, I'm not doing a diagnosis, but I am doing what's called a non-diagnostic consultations because you need to have your schema remodified. You guys are going to do what's called a schema affliction because you have been conditioned to be subjects to modern women. So therefore, anytime that woman challenges you what you are saying, you fight or you become fearful because of what she's going to say. You're going to die one day, so you shouldn't care what nobody's going to say. Who you should be fearing is God. You should fear a woman or a man. You should fear God because God got the power to destroy your soul. So listen, I'm going to drop the link in a few minutes, and I want you guys to have a conversation because I got to go see clients in a minute. But I want you guys to continue to donate to the channel. I need you guys to share the content. I got a fire show on tomorrow. I got some heavy hitters coming on tomorrow. So I need you guys to get the thumbs up. Start donating. Get your pocketbooks ready and donate to the Kosher Clinician because you're not going to find this in churches. You're not going to find this on the Sunday morning show. Most of your therapists are not going to give you what I'm giving you. Because even though I went to a very liberal school, a very good school that is, I love Carolina. I went to UNC Chapel Hill. They're not going to teach you what I'm teaching you. So I need you guys to donate to this channel because you're not going to find too many licensed clinical therapists in this space. A lot of guys just talking, general conversations, and I'm not against that, but they're not licensed as a therapist. I'm a real therapist, and I got some fire for your mind. So I need you guys to get ready because we're going to have about a 30-minute conversation based on what the lead attorney said, right? And also based on what K.Samuels is saying, because Kevin is changing his tune because he's saying that men shall have options. And I agree with him 100%. He even said that most modern women are not wife ready. They're not wife ready. Women years ago were wife ready, but women now are not wife ready. Most men are not husband ready because husband ready men demand standards. American men don't demand anything. They accept anything. So get ready. We're going to have a show. We're going to have a conversation. I'm going to drop the link. And I'm going to drop some fire for your mind. All right, so I'm about to drop the link, Tim. I want some of the young brothers to come up, and I want them to add to this conversation because many believe that K.Samuels is the boogeyman. Suzette Speaks got a schema affliction when she saw K.Samuels coming up there. Tim, make sure you drop the link, Tim. I want some brothers to come up and women that want to come up and talk and have a conversation. It's 51 people in the house. I need all 51 people to share this content. Share this content with as many people as you can, men and women that think like you. Shout out once again to my man Black Ram 316 for the $5 super chat. Thank you, brother. Black Man 316 said, I've never taken the time to understand the emotions fit into that scheme. I realized too much. I rely on too much anger to fuel, no doubt. Thank you, brother. So, guys, Tim, I've dropped the link. I want the guys to come up and have a discussion because I gave you guys 2 comparative analysis. The lead attorney, when he was talking to Suzette Speaks about why isn't she married, he was just trying to get some basic information. And there were women that attacked the lead attorney. They came in his inboxes attacking him, saying that he was wrong and he attacked her. And the woman said she didn't feel attacked. And Suzette Speaks said, no, I didn't feel attacked. But that's what happens. Even kind men like the lead attorney can get excoriated. So the truth is this, guys, no matter how you tell the truth, some women are going to get triggered regardless. So just tell the truth anyway. Don't even worry about the feelings. Just tell the truth. And then K.Samuels is saying more or less that men need to have options. And he's correct, because most are not marriage ready. And when women decide to exercise their options, when they marry white men, they say, you go, girl. Black girl magic, black girls rock. And I don't have a problem with that. So when men decide to get the women they want, then all of a sudden they're shamed back into submission. The truth is, black men and American men submit. They submit more than the women. The truth is, most men are still a better fit to be husbands, because most men still operate on a traditional model, where most of our women tend to operate on a modern model. Now, I need to drop some fire for your mind. Once again, I want you guys to pop in and let's have a conversation, because these conversations are important. You can't free your mind until you understand what's going on as a man or a woman. You can't be the best version of yourself if you continue to do the things that are not getting you the outcomes that you want. Like Black Ram say, in therapy, we don't lie. So we don't lie in therapy. In therapy, we got to be real, because there are a lot of thinking errors with a lot of our men and women. A lot of our women have what's called the thinking error of magnification. They tend to magnify the women at the behest of the man. So I got my man B9 in the house. B9, how you doing, sir? What's going on, brother?
Captain, first and foremost, I want to say that I've been listening to you since you came up after me on the Amira's platform on
Thank
the
you, brother.
Show.
Mm-hmm.
And you dropped fire that day, and you've been dropping fire ever since, my brother.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, man.
Ever since, like,
I appreciate that.
And I'm not the hottest thing in the world, but usually when I go on platforms, I'm the one dropping knowledge and keeping people gobsmacked.
No doubt.
You came on after me. That was like Dave Chappelle coming on after me. Like you shut it down, my brother, and your knowledge is immense and very much needed for our people.
No doubt.
On so many different levels. First and foremost, like as you take it from a mental standpoint, what you're doing is needed through your expertise and your background.
Right.
But even deeper than that, sir, I deal in economics.
Yes, sir.
I deal with capitalism, because in my mind, you can't understand America, a capitalist society, if you don't understand capital. So that's the perspective that I come at it with. And what you're saying translates so well over to what I talk about, because women now run the money.
Right.
Women, through these jobs and through their degrees, now run the money. And all of the money, because they're running things, goes directly back to the man. Mm-hmm. We have no chance as a community to build anything as a race, because we're giving it all away for hair, nails, all types of stuff, and stuff to please other women.
Right.
I'm not saying that women don't need to keep themselves up. They definitely do. But I feel comfortable saying this here because I know I'm on a man's channel here. I ain't never met a man in my life that done kicked a fine woman out the bed because her fingernails don't match her toenails.
Right.
So these women are lying when they say that they're doing all this stuff for us. No, you're doing it for you and your sisterhood.
Yes, sir. I agree with that many times. Yes, sir. I agree with that.
And until these simp guys out here realize that you are being an agent for somebody that does not have your best interest in mind, we're never going to win, because we're willing to shoot ourselves in the foot just to get some trim or to be held up by somebody and feel good for the moment. But there's no respect there from a long-term perspective. Thus, there's nothing to build off of. If there's no foundation, then we the pigs that done built out of hay instead of brick.
Right. I totally agree, man. You know, Frederick Douglass said it better than me, that power never conceded to anything without a struggle. It never have and it never will. And I'm tired of seeing our men dragging their knuckles on the ground, defeated and broken, because they don't stand up for what they believe. And I get it. Some of you guys got to be remodified mentally. I get it. You know, we've all been conditioned to serve And it's in our nature, it's men to serve. But you don't give your power and your virtue away as a man for free. You got to make a woman earn it. Men or women, you got to make a woman earn her respect to be in your life. It's not given for free. You know, you guys, a lot of our men are still romantics, because men are the true romantics. You know, when you think about the 70s, stylistics, Blue Magic, you know, even music from the 90s, Keith Sweat and Jodeci. Men tend to be the true romantics, but when women come into relationships, they don't come into relationships based on romanticism solely. They come into relationships being pragmatic, meaning, listen, I'm going to make sure I'm going to be provided for. They come in expecting you to serve them instead of them serving you. And like the lead attorney said in one of the shows, where he was on a show with this lady that was a pharmacist, he said he only believes that about 20% of the women are actually good women. And I agree with him to some degree. Most modern women, they're hard to find. You got to go do so much crap to get the decent women. They're hard to find. Not saying they're not out here, but they're hard to find. Shout out to my man, Black Man 316. How would you like to add to the discussion, brother? What do you get from this discussion? Is black masculinity dead? Has black men taken the black pill? And is K.Samuels the boogeyman? Yourself, Black Man 3.
I think that black masculinity, I think it's tough to embrace, right? I'm 43 years old. I've been on your show before, or your program before, and I think that what you're alluding to is very important, right? I'm a combat veteran, meaning that I see myself as understanding the masculine role, right? I'm also been raised by two parents. My father was very involved in my household. And I think that just the ability to have the time to have that kind of level of introspection to know how to navigate all this stuff, I wasn't ready for it, you know? And you talk about the schema affliction, and there's a lot of things that I think that you broach on that's quite a bit to kind of talk about. But I do think that as a black man, it's tough to find the right woman or black woman that can support, you know, what typical masculinity does. Right. And just from what you're saying on, you know, the schema affliction and shadow work and understanding how all of that goes into being able to stand on your square, that concept is foreign to me, right? Because I spent probably a majority of my time just working on what it takes to be successful, going to school, right. Mm-hmm. You know, doing the everyday thing, making money, whatever the case may be. So in my mind, I would think that I would be a protector, no problem. I would think I'm a provider. I earn pretty well, and provider, protector, and what else is the third one that everybody says? The 3 Ps or whatever. But anyways, I think that by most standards, I would say that
provide,
I'm fairly
protect,
successful.
Provision. Provide, protect, provision.
So I would think that, you know, based on those characteristics, I'd fit that qualification pretty well. But like I said, I think that just navigating that in today's world, I think it's very difficult to have the time or set the time aside for that introspection. That's all.
Well, listen, many are not going to set that time away for introspection, Black Man 316, because many don't feel they have to. You know, I look at this poor situation. I'm going to do a show on that soon with the Will Smith and the Jada Pinkett situation. And because she was imprinted by Tupac, she doesn't respect Will Smith. A lot of our women have been imprinted by dusty men. They've been imprinted by men that they thought were fun. They looked over decent, good men until in their latter years. And I tell men that you got to be wary of these kind of women, because even if you do marry them, they're not going to see you as the man that they want. They're just seeing you as a man to take care of them. And so many of them will come in the guys like they love you, but they don't love you. They're just trying to use you as a retirement check, or they're trying to use you as a come up. They want you to be the cleanup man, because the man that they really want no longer wants them. And when I see Will Smith being castigated in society, Jada Smith is dogging that man out and running him down, talking about he can no longer please her in the bedroom. But let Will Smith had come out and said, you know, she got crow's feet, or her breast is sagging now, it would have been an issue. So it's almost like men have been conditioned to be slaves to the feelings of women instead of standing up and saying, damn it, this is what I want. If you're going to be with me, you got to lose weight. If you're going to be with me, you need to rock your natural hair. If you're going to be with me, you got to be feminine. If you're going to be with me, you got to learn how to listen as a woman. Men need to start standing up firm in their convictions, because guess what? Men are always, as men, we got to always carry the burden of being a man. Nobody don't care about men. You see plenty of men on the sidewalks and on the sideways, homeless. There are more homeless shelters for women and children than there are for men. Michael Jackson made a song in the past that they don't really care about us, and they don't. But we get surprised when the world has no sympathy for men, and then men turn around and have no sympathy for them. B9, I want to ask you a question, brother, because you definitely have been in these spaces. Is K.Samuels the Boogey Man? And what happened to black masculinity in your opinion? I think maybe you touched on it a little bit, but is K.Samuels the Boogey Man? Why so much vitriol for K.Samuels? Because you don't have to agree with everything K.Samuels say. I don't agree with 100% of what no man say or woman. But it's K.Samuels the Boogey Man as we encroach one day from Halloween.
No way, shape, or form is K.Samuels the Boogey Man. K.Samuels, such as yourself, kosher clinician, needs to be protected at all costs, because there's not enough men out there that have the balls and the gumption and the intelligence and the intellect to back up and truly confront and combat today's female.
Right.
The sisterhood is a true mafia. And you have to have a Martin Luther King, a Malcolm X, someone that truly has the juice and the intellectual fortitude to go at them, because they're not playing fair. The sisterhood is so strong that they will, women will go single until age 50 and feel good about it. Mm-hmm. And then at the last minute, once it's time to get all your affairs in order, all of a sudden, you all of a sudden wife material.
Right.
And you've all of a sudden metamorphosized into some butterfly after being a caterpillar for 50 years.
Right. I like that.
No way, shape, or form should we as men be falling for this nonsense.
Right.
And the problem is that we have black women that are secret agents. We have black women that tell us that they care about us, but know for a fact that young black boys learn differently than young black girls, but will never sacrifice the education of those young black girls to truly educate properly our young black men. So when we don't have things on an equal playing field off the beginning of time, how can we expect things to progress evenly as we matriculate through life? K.Samuels is definitely needed. And like I said, I'm adding you on to that list. You, kosher clinician, are definitely needed. Neither one of you are the boogeymen. You are the boogeymen to these women and to the sisterhood, because for the last 30 years, the only person that stood up was Dr. Shiraz Ali.
Right.
And she was alone in the fight because she believed in polygamy. And because of that portion of what she believed in, they totally threw the baby out with the bathwater. Mm-hmm. And now that we have intelligent, certified doctors such as yourself and clinicians such as yourself that can now come up here and preach it and have the backup certificates and diplomas and degrees to verify and give you the validity that a lot of other people don't have, that's the end of the argument. Because that's the one thing that we didn't have. We've had all of these Dr. Boyce Watkins that are leading on their degrees and their expertise, but yet are just as solved as they were back in elementary school.
Right.
There's certain things that a degree cannot give you. There's certain things that you have to go out in the field and get. Everybody thinks education comes from a book. A book is just documented someone else's education. So you do not get that education just because you read the book. Sometimes you actually have to live it, act it out, feel it, breathe it, smell it, then you can say that you are educated on a certain topic.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. I totally agree, man. And, you know, my job as a therapist is to remodify the thinking of a man. In clinical science, we call it cognitive restructuring. There are different treatment models that you can use in the therapeutic process. Some of it is called existentialist therapy. Some of it, the universal one is cognitive behavior therapy. The next one is behavior modification therapy. There are different therapeutic techniques that we can use. But there are a lot of our people that are broken because we don't value the importance of therapy. And I be nine and don't want to see men suffer in silence. I don't want to see our men suffer in silence, be nine, and go to the grave before their time because they don't have no one to talk to. I don't want to see them blow their brains out because they feel like they're not loved or wanted. Men are human beings too. We're not just robots. We're not machines. We're human. We got feelings. We want to be loved and appreciated. That's why, you know, I saw my dad on Father's Day. I gave my dad $100. And I can tell my dad was beaming with joy. You know why I be now? Because for so long, my dad, when Father's Day would come, he would get nothing. So we've been conditioned not to be praised. But in other cultures, men are praised. They're given high reverence. That's why the gospel say, honor thy father first, not their mother. Honor thy father and thy mother. That's not right. Honor their mother and their father. I heard people misquote that and say, honor their mother and their father. That's not what the gospel says. It says to honor thy father and thy mother. And when men and women work together as a team, they have what's called a symbiosis, or what I call soul fusion, or what I call the amalgamation of the man and the woman. Our men need good women to make them become better men. A feminine woman would take a man to the highest height. My man El Guapo said, the feminine amplifier. I call it the feminine oscillator, because when a man gets around a feminine woman, his spirit begins to oscillate like a fan. It's like a wave. It begins to oscillate just like a fan. And it goes round and round and round and round. And that man, testosterone levels increase and his blood pressure decreases. And so that's what we need. We need women that's going to inspire our men. Shout out to my man, CJ100. How you doing, sir? What are you getting from this conversation? Is black masculinity dead? And is K.Samuels the Boogey Man? And to the guys that are listening, if you have not donated, please donate to the channel. Please donate to Cash App $7 Smalls. You're getting content from a licensed clinical therapist. You're getting good content, so I need you guys to donate because I love you guys, but donate because these shows are very time-consuming. Many times I'm up 9 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning producing these shows because I love the brotherhood. Trying to be creative. I got another barn burner for y'all tomorrow. And if you don't have any money, please share the content. It's about 55 people watching. Share this content with 55 people. Help me get this channel to 5,000. Help me get it to 10,000. If I get it to 10,000, I can help inspire other men because it's rare in this circle that you have a clinical therapist. CJ100, is K.Samuels the Boogey Man, and is black masculinity dead in your opinion?
Number one, K.Samuels is not the boogeyman. We know, yeah, he is, because he waking these women out of this dream and turning it into a nightmare. That's why he's the boogeyman. But as far as his message and the connotation that the boogeyman has, no, he's not. Two, is black masculinity dead? No, it's not dead. But it's on life support though. Because
right. Tell me why it's on life support.
Because it's demonized. I've always believed that toxic masculinity wasn't about the Caucasian male or the Asian male. I've always believed it's been about the black male because we've been told that we're the most masculine and we're seen as the most masculine in the media. So I've always believed that toxic masculinity was definitely a direct shot at male fatherhood in the black community. And it's not celebrated. Me personally, I'm a father. I'm a divorced father. And nothing I say gets taken into account when her mother makes a decision. But when I make a decision that's best for my daughter when she's with me, it's not cared about. And everybody in her family, that are females especially, will support it and look at me like I'm trying to be a dictator and trying to knock everybody out of the way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is so true.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
That's it. So yeah.
Right. Anytime a man speaks up, he's seen as a dictator. Anytime men stand firm as men, they're seen as dictators. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of anytime black men take a stand to be men, they're seen as dictators because our women want to do what they want to do. and then say stuff like he get on my nerves because they don't want to submit to the authority of their man. But at the same time, when it come down to paying bills, when it come down to him getting his head blown off and somebody walking to the house, then all of a sudden you're supposed to be a man. You're supposed to be a man based on her feelings. But keep talking, brother. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm getting fired up.
You're right though. Like, that's why I watch these shows and I pay attention to who's trying to create content to be quote unquote entertaining and the people that are really having a message. That's why I rock with you, man, because you're speaking on something that some things I don't even fully understand, but I'm trying to watching what you do. But I just feel like what I am is a problem. And I'm 29, so I'm young, so I'm dealing with it. I'm dealing with it full force, to be honest with you. But I tried to do what was right as a young man, and I got married to the wrong woman. But I had my grandmother in my ear, like, you gotta marry that woman. If you're gonna lay down with that woman, you need to marry that woman. And I love my grandmama to death, but when we got divorced and I got put on child support and ran through the codes, it was like, well, you know what? I did this to your granddad. Well, why weren't you telling me that beforehand? Why wasn't there a care about what I was as a man beforehand? Now that I'm going through it, you quote unquote care. That's why I have a problem with what the society is today. And we're made to be the bad guy, but we're supposed to fix every damn thing. And I don't understand it, man. I really don't understand it. So no, K.Samuels is the boogeyman. He's the guy that is gonna say the truth in his own way now, but he's gonna tell you the truth. And you don't have to agree with it, but he's not going to back down off of it. And the fact that he's not backing down is what pisses them off the most. He's a problem because go ahead.
Right. No, I totally agree. Let me shout out these cash outs real quick. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you guys donate to the channel. Shout out to my man, Tim Howell. Tim Howell, I love Tim. Tim always be coming through for a brother. Tim always be holding me down. I got mad love for the man, Tim Howard. Shout out to Tim, and Gail Lockett whenever she's on. Tim and Gail do an excellent job moderating these channels. I love Gail and Tim. Shout out to my man, Aslagan Akantunde. And he said, fire for your mind. No doubt. Fire for your mind. Shout out to him. And then also shout out to my man, Brandon W. Boone. He said, I appreciate your voice. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate the love and support. I got more fire content coming, so you guys get ready because my job is to empower our men. My job is to teach men how to modify how they think. My job is to get men to become the best versions of themselves. And also shout out to my man for the $9 super chat, Ravon Bryan. Thank you, Ravon Bryan, for donating $9 to the stream. Thank you, sir. So finish saying what you were saying, and all those generous brothers donating. I love you guys, and I thank you guys for supporting the cause because this work is time consuming. But go ahead, brother. C6 CJ100. Keep saying what you were saying. I apologize.
Oh, it's all good. And for what you said, I'm definitely about to say myself, because man, I know how long a 5-minute video can take to edit. So I know these 30 minutes and these hour videos, man, it's time consuming. So I appreciate the work that you're doing, brother. But as far as the topic at hand, I'm not gonna beat it down because I'm not as well spoken as you. I'm not as eloquent as you are. I don't understand completely what's going on the way you do. So I really would just like to sit back, man, and just continue to listen and watch. But I just appreciate y'all brothers for getting on here and even having the courage and the integrity enough to speak without worrying about what people have to say. Because at the end of the day, it's our job to lead, but we don't have to take the BS that come along with these women. They don't want to rock with the program. Some woman will, because some woman is going to appreciate what masculine, strong, heterosexual men do. That's all I got.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that eloquent pronunciation, man. I really appreciate that. And you know what? You stand firm in your conviction, CJ16. Keep CJ100. Keep being the great man that you are. There are a lot of men that are suffering in silence, but we're going to break that. I'm going to teach men how to be men and to love themselves and to stand firm in their conviction. So keep doing what you're doing. I look forward to inspiring the brotherhood and encouraging our black men and all men to be the best versions of themselves. So thank you, brother. Thanks you for dropping in, all right?
Hey, brother CJ, real quick, CJ. I just wanted to add on that you are a great father and you did do the right thing. However, listening to moms and dads and grandmas and granddads is the same thing as listening to OG gangsters in certain situations about how to pull capers and rob and this and that. They didn't have cell phones back in their day. They didn't have cameras at every street corner taping everything 24 hours back in their day. So they can't give you advice of how to move in 2021 based off of how they was moving back in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. Same thing with relationships. And the last thing I want to give you is don't feel bad because you're not alone. A lot of my friends are biological fathers to their kids, and they still get treated like they stepfathers. They still get treated like that's not their own seed because they have no power in that house. They will, if the mother dies, the kids will go to the grandmother instead of the father.
Yo,
this
is the last thing. I just want to speak to what you just said. My ex-wife is shacked up with a man right now. And before I knew that they were living together, they were living together for a year. And it was my daughter that told me. And my daughter was being forced to call this man dad, while she had a dad that was going to court spending $4,000 to get my joint custody. And I only have like 135 days a year. But I was fighting to get that while she was being told to call another man dad and living with another man. And I'm the person that's like the bad guy. And I'm fighting for her. So what you just said, I get treated like a stepfather because what he says, because he's smashing her and doing some of what she want him to do, I'm the bad guy. I'm the second class parent. When anything goes wrong, she's calling my phone. So yeah, I agree with you, bro. 100%. You just touched my soul right there.
Women are very important in the birthing process, very important, but they are incubators. They hold on to that child for 9 to 10 months. That child is in your DNA and has lived in us as men for decades.
Yeah. Facts. That's my seed.
Shout out to my man Before the Billions, and thank you, B9. Before the Billions, that's my little young lion. I call him a young lion because he's a Leo like me. So that's my little young lion. I love him. He's like a little son to me. He's young enough to be my son. But Before the Billions, I'm going to ask you a question because you get lion preference. Was the lead attorney wrong in his pronostications with Suzette Speaks? I didn't think he was. I thought he was very balanced. He's very affable, very laid back. And is K.Samuels the Boogey Man one day away from Halloween? What's your take on
that? My answer to that is no. I don't think that he was wrong. I don't think that the lead attorney was wrong. And is K.Samuels the Boogey Man? No, I don't think so. I mean, I guess it depends on the individual. Some people may think so, right? Some people just hate K.Samuels so much that they may equate him to a fairy tale story or something like that, or a nightmare, but to me, no, he's not.
What do you get from this conversation? What do you want to add about black men and black masculinity? Is black masculinity dead? Have men, in your opinion, deferred their power because they've been raised by their mothers that more or less teach them to think like women? What's your take on that, sir?
Right. I don't think that black masculinity is dead. There are very masculine men, right? And I learned from my dad. I bring up my dad all the time and all the things he's taught me throughout life. And then, he's teaching me to be a better man, and then even growing up, where I really needed to work. I've had people who, I respected and looked up to, and they were like, hey, you know what? You need to go through this. You may have a bad job right now, but, this makes you a better man at the end of the day. And, when it comes to giving up power, I mean, yeah, that has happened, right? Of course, it's happened to where, men gave up power so that way women could do a lot more within the Western society. And that's exactly how it is. They gave up a lot of power. But it's not like masculinity is dead in any form.
Well, I would say Before the Billions, it might be internal, but I think it's very dormant. If it is alive, it's not being activated, because how many men have been subjects of the term happy wife, happy life? How many men are in relationships where they defer their power because they are more concerned about what their wife say and her happiness than his happiness? It's happy us, happy life, not happy wife, happy life, because happy wife means that you're going to always be jumping through hoops to please her. You will be a fool as a man if you always try to jump through hoops to please a woman that changes her mind on the term. Women by nature are very fickle. Don't mean they're not human beings, but women by nature are fickle. It's just their nature. They're not bad people. This is how they're hardwired. And it takes a very strong woman to learn how to control her emotions. You will know if a woman loves you if she can put her emotions, if she knows how to control her emotions against your principles as a man. If a woman can keep her emotions in subjugation to your principles as a man, then you know that woman really loves you. Because when a woman does stuff when she doesn't feel like doing it, that means that woman loves you. So if you get a woman that knows how to control her emotions and follow your program, that woman loves you. And if you find a woman like that, she's a rare find, because there's some good women out here. But I want to ask you a question before the billions. I want Black Man 316 to pop in. You're a millennial or maybe a zennial. Do you feel like, I know you got a girlfriend, but before you got your girlfriend, what percentage of quality women you think exists as a millennial man? What is the percentage of quality women, in your opinion, before the billions that you think exist?
They exist in everywhere, or just like in my area?
So from your anecdotal experience, right? We know you don't know 100%. But based on what you've seen and based on what you've heard, what percentage of good women would you say exist? The lead attorney said on one lady's show that he thought it was 20%. What percentage would you say exists before the billions from your anecdotal experience?
Right. So percentage-wise, I would agree with the 20%, because I can think on hand, like if I were to go through life like if I was trying to date somebody, or if I was talking to certain women, or just women that I would know, I could say probably 2 out of those 10 probably would be quality.
Mm-hmm.
Like keep, or in that follow like the same morals and stuff like that I would say would be quality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also just something that you were saying before that I kind of wanted to speak to, Coach Clinician. So I wanted to say, like, like a person like you, right? I remember when you came in on lead attorney's panel that one time, and you were like, hey, you know what? I say what I say, I mean what I say.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be the exact definition of somebody who's has the
masculine energy.
Right. So somebody who is able to say what they mean. And then I don't think that you would actually be able to say that it's dead, because there's plenty of examples of men who are like you, who can, who are, I don't know, like I think you're married, right?
Yes, sir. I've been married for 26 years.
Right. And you probably don't even have that same issue.
But no, overall, I don't.
Right.
My marriage ain't perfect, but my wife is a good woman. She's a better woman than most modern women. My wife is more or less traditional. Is she perfect? No. Have we had flaws? Yes. But at the end of the day, I tell my wife, like I tell any woman, if my wife doesn't respect me as a man, she can get this work. I'll get rid of her if she don't follow my lead as a man. And I stand firm on that. And I tell her that in front of all the panel. Do I love her? No doubt. I'll die for her. And I'll tell any man, there are men that I know that can kill me physically. But guess what? I've never had to use these hands. So I don't know what I can do, because most men won't challenge me physically, because I'm 6'5", 290 pounds. So I don't know what kind of damage I can do with these stumpers. But I tell you this, if you ever do try, you might lose your life. Because when I get cranked to the point that I might black out. So my whole point is this: when a man comes to you, men know that they gotta always come in a spirit of respect. But I don't understand, before the billions and Black Man 316 and B9, you got women that'll challenge a man as big as me, knowing that with one swipe, I probably could kill him if I hit him hard enough. But they don't challenge other women. They don't challenge women to be better versions of themselves for their husband, but they'll challenge a man that's 6'5", 285 pounds, 6'6" with shoes on. Shout out to my man, Ty Cutner. But they'll challenge me. And that lets you know, guys, that they have not been conditioned to respect masculine authority. Our men have been socialized to be suckers. Our men have been socialized to defer power instead of demanding power. Because guess what, before the billions, Black Man 316 and B9, at any point you are expected to give your life for your woman. Every day a man is expected to provide and protect. They always tell you that's a man's job. But what is a woman's job? To serve her? Or is her job to serve you? Because these women say they are Christians, but according to that gospel, the Bible said the woman was made for the man. And if she's made for the man, then guess what? That man's going to turn around and serve her too. Men and women are supposed to serve one another. She serves him, and he serves her. I remember my dad, when he would come home, my mom would always fix my dad his meal. She will feed him first and feed the kids last. Because that's how my grandmom taught my mom. And my mom and dad been married for over 50 years. But some of these women wonder why they can't get quality men. They think men gonna check for them after they already had their fun. But then all of a sudden you want a top tier man. Don't work like that, boo. Because masculine men are not gonna tolerate it. They're just not going to. I know I'm not going to. And I challenge men to stand firm in your masculinity. Stand firm in your convictions as a man. Don't bow your head down and drag your knuckles. Don't damn it sit in your car with your crime because you scared to go in your house, a house that you paying the mortgage on. What kind of man are you? You look that woman in the eye and you tell that woman, you better get it together. There's going to be consequences. And you mean it. And if she don't get it together, you come up with an exit strategy and you fire her. And let her be singing that damn song by Patti LaBelle, I'm on my own. Because I promise you, there are women from other countries that will love you. There are women from other countries that have been conditioned to honor and to respect their men. There are women from other countries that don't see sex as no damn bargaining chip. Sex ain't no bargaining chip. You gave sex to Raekwon the Man for free. He didn't have to do nothing. But all of a sudden, you think because you giving a man sex is something special. It ain't nothing special about that. That's what you're supposed to do. In fair exchange, there is no robbery in fair exchange. And before the billions, I'm fired up, man. You see that line coming out before the billions. That line coming out, because I'm dropping fire for that line coming out. I don't normally get fiery like this. But I'm passionate about men standing firm on their convictions as men. I'm passionate about it. Shout out to my man CJ100 for the $5 super chat. Man of my word. Thank you, brother, for the work you putting in. No, thank you, brother, because I love what I'm doing. I love the brotherhood. Listen, I want to ask you guys a question. I got to check off in a few minutes. I love you guys. When you look at the Jada Smith situation, Black Man 316, what do you think about that, brother? Mute yourself. What do you think about the Jada Smith situation and her blatant disrespect for Will Smith?
I think it's terrible. Number one, that she's taking it in front of the mainstream media to make all these talks about what's going on in their household. And I think number two is, like you said, we'll probably need to figure out some kind of exit strategy or either figure out some way to get her in control, let her know something. But I think that's the deal, too. A lot of times it is just with these women today, that less than 20% that are good wives, you got to cut them loose.
Right.
And it almost takes kind of a black pill type of a situation. Like the other brother was saying that, you know, he's almost viewed as the stepfather, you know, with his children. At some point, you just have to walk away from the situation and understand that there's nothing that you can do. You know, I'm pragmatic enough at some point to just be like, you know, if a woman can't respect what I'm telling her, she's just going to have to suffer the consequences.
No
I'm
doubt.
going to have to sit back and watch,
yes,
you know?
Yes, sir. She's going to have to suffer the consequences. Because you know what, B9? Before the billions and Black Men 316, and I'm not trying to push religion, but when every person stand before God, I'm not trying to push religion, guess what? You think God going to care about her feelings? God ain't going to care about her feelings. God going to say, I know your works. Because he said heaven and earth going to pass away, but my word going to stand forever. God ain't going to care about your feelings. He ain't going to care about mine. Because God, if he turned his back on his only son, he's going to turn his back on her. It needs to be consequences for bad behavior, guys. It needs to be consequences. And when she get out of line, she needs to understand that there are consequences for bad behavior. Get out of that mindset of being a white knight and keep trying to save women, because you're not helping her. You are enabling her in her own pathology called magnification. It's the magnification of the woman and the minimization of the man. That's a thinking error, guys. So you're not helping her by assuaging her. You're actually hurting her. You look her in the eye and say, babe, I love you. But if you keep violating my standards, it's going to be consequences. And you don't say nothing else. And you just damn walk away. And she keep doing it. You write notes. You write the time and the dates down. On 10/29, I asked her to stop. She kept doing. So when she tried to gaslight and say I didn't do it, oh, damn it, yes, you did. Because I recorded it. I wrote it right down. You write it down so you can bring it back to her attention, because she's going to try to gaslight you, because a lot of modern women are very narcissistic. And that's one of the traits of narcissistic personality disorder, is that they gaslight. They'll make you think you're crazy. Am I right or wrong, guys? Have you not been in relationships where you know you were right, but after she finished convincing you, you thought you were damn crazy? Hey, correct me if I'm wrong.
As the black community, we all, for the last year, 2 years, ever since the pandemic issue has been going on, We have all made videos, watched videos, hashtag the whole Karen thing. Every white woman that does something out of pocket is a Karen. But we don't talk about how black women treat black men with that same Karen treatment. They get away with that Karen treatment. They get away with holding us accountable for nonsense and trying to get us into trouble over nonsense or fake the skies falling just to make us look bad. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity. That is an oxymoron. How can what God made me be toxic?
Right.
How can my protection of you be toxic?
Hold for a minute, B9. Shout out to my man Before the Billions. Thank you, brother. I love my young lion. That's my little son. I love Before the Billions. You know, he's a Leo like me, so I always give him Leo credits. You know, I gotta always shout him out. You know, he's strong-willed, he's hard working. I watched that young brother, and he's growing his channel. Guys, go check his channel out, Before the Billions. Before the Billions, tell the people about your channel. Your channel focuses on tech. And listen, it's not a doubt in my mind that Before the Billions is not gonna be a successful man. Because he's a hard worker. Most Leos are hard working. And listen, I don't live by the Zodiac, but what they say about Leos is true. Strong will, swag, dominant, ain't gonna back down. We're gonna keep grinding until we figure it out. But tell this audience about your channel Before the Billions real quick, and tell them what your channel is about. And then I want Black Man 316 to add to the conversation again too.
All right. What's up, everybody? This is William from Before the Billions. I am a professional data engineer, and on my channel, I go into many different discussions about different topics and also do interviews. So if you're interested in any of those things that I've listed, then please go check out my channel.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Listen, guys, I'm gonna ask some of you guys a question. You know, Black Man 316, do you feel that most modern women are wife ready in your opinion? Then I want Before the Billions to pick it back, and then B9. But are modern women wife ready in your opinion, based on what you've seen?
Nah, I don't think that black women or modern women are wife ready. It takes familiarity with masculinity. It takes, I would think, coming from a two-parent home, being able to watch those two energies go together to create a woman that's wife ready, typically.
Right. You talked about your marriage. Are you still married or you're divorced?
Separated.
I want you to talk about, and you share what you want to share. You don't have to tell all your business, but in what situation do you feel like you deferred power instead of demanding power from your wife?
I think for me, and that's probably where I made a mistake, is that if it's something that doesn't matter, you know, hey, let's go over here, let's eat this, or let's do this. A lot of times I defer power in those kind of situations. But if it's something that I think is critical, which brings me to my situation now, then at some point I just let go, you know, and say, hey, you know, maybe you got to suffer some of those consequences on your own if that's the way that you want to do it.
Right.
And what the biggest thing is just being able to stomach the impending situation that I see that's getting ready to occur, you know.
Talk about that impending situation that's about to occur in your opinion, so the women and the men know what you're talking about.
What I mean by impending stuff is like financial readiness, right? And my situation, I've talked to my wife over and over about, hey, you know what, if this is what you want to do, if this is the lifestyle that you want to lead, you can do it, but it's going to take a little bit of patience on your end, right? Meaning that you're going to have to wait for your money to evolve a certain way in order to get some of these things done. And right now, her situation is from school, she's got hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
You know, and from school, she's a PhD. But, you know, at the end of the day, if you can't pay for it, you know, making $40,000 or $50,000 a year, you're not going to be able to afford that and the two children. Right. So now she's like, hey, can I keep the house? I'm like, well, you know, maybe you ought to sell it. You know, maybe that way you could use that money to start your own practice or whatever the case may be. But keeping the house is not an option. Can't afford it. Oh, well, you know, I talked to the financiers. They said they could give it to me at this % rate. And I'm like, man, trust me. Okay, fine.
and, you know, and those delusions of grandeur is killing them. Shout out to my man, Tim Howe. Tim Howe was 100% correct for this fire for your mind. Tim Howe would say that I would say it's less than 20%. Because Tim said that 70 to 80% are overweight And the majority of them have high body counts, unsubmissive, and very disrespectful to men. And Tim, listen, and that's the problem, man. In fair exchange, there is no robbery. Most women gave their men their virtue when that man asked them for his hand in marriage. And guess what her virtue was? Her virtue was her ability to be chaste. Now listen, if a woman want to have fun, that's her business. I ain't knocking you. But I'm just saying that years ago, that was just the gold standard. It was nothing great. And women in other countries know that there's a dowry for women that protect their virtue. They just don't give it away. If a woman wants to do her thing, that's her business. Do you. But understand, with a masculine man, he's going to demand standards. And the problem is so many women want men to continue to be traditional. They said they want a man to pay all the bills, but what are you giving that man in return? What are you giving that man in return for paying all the damn bills? What are you giving him? Because my mom, when she came to the table, my dad paid all the bills. My mom was wife ready, and my mom was a virgin. She didn't have no kids. So if you want a man to pay 100% of everything, what are you giving him back in return? B9, you appear to be from the class of 90, like you're a Gen Xer. What do you remember from the past when men actually demanded that women come to the table with something more than just sex? Tell me what you remember from the past when men demanded more than just sex when they came to the relationship. And black men, y'all need to start stepping y'all game up and damn it, start demanding more than just sex. But tell me, B9, from when you remember.
Well, point blank period, men don't understand that feminism is the slickest form of racism. All of these men talk about black power, this and movement and this and that. Nothing can be accomplished without the black woman. We're not saying that we don't need the black woman and that she's not important, because like you say, when I grew up and I saw my grandparents and my great grandparents and my parents, I knew for a fact that my dad would not have made it without my mom, and vice versa. My mom definitely wouldn't have made it without my dad. And the sisterhood has taken over to replace the man. The sisterhood can now get you a job. The sisterhood can put you on public assistance. The sisterhood can help you get a firearm or get a boyfriend to get your hair done for $1,000 a month or this or that or that. So the sisterhood provides so much that we as men are looked at as accessories to a car. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, we were the engine and the transmission of the car. Mm-hmm. That car went nowhere without us. And women knew it to a point where when I was in high school, the young girls wore high heels to gym class just to make sure that they looked good for us at all times.
Now, hold tight. I got to do this, man. Oh, my God. Shout out to my man, Mr. Stewart, for the $100 cash out. Woo! Yeah, Mr. Stewart, man. Oh, my God, brother, you get 5. If I can give you 5 applause, I'll give you 5. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you for the $100 cash out, brother. I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you, sir. Your work is merited. Thank you, sir. Guys, when you do this, it means the world to me as a therapist, but also it means the world to me as a content creator. Before the Billions is a content creator. Tell them Before the Billions, these shows are very time consuming. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, sir.
It's very intensive. Before the Billions work, I work as a licensed therapist. Let me show you guys something. I've never done this before, but I'm gonna let you guys see that I'm the real deal. You see them war trophies on the wall. So if anybody ever questioned who I am, you see that I'm real. It ain't nothing fake about me. I went to one of the best schools in the country. So when you see them war trophies on the wall, you see that I'm a real licensed therapist. I don't normally do that. I do it to my clients for non-diagnostic consultations. But you see that I went to one of the greatest schools in the country, and I take pride in that because I worked very hard to become the man that I am. And I'm taking a risk doing this because many won't do what I'm doing. But because I love the brotherhood, I believe I've been commissioned by God to do this. Because too many men are suffering in silence. And I made up in my mind 10 years ago that I'm not going to let another black man or white man or any man suffer in silence. I'm not going to let another man go to the grave with dreams deferred and blow his brains out because nobody heard his pain or nobody heard his story. And you ain't seen nothing yet. I'm about to be in Brazil next week. I'm going to be live. We're going to be talking about the movie Frustrated 3 with Al Grease. And I got a show tomorrow that's going to drop some fire for your mind. So you guys get ready. If you think this show was fire, you ain't seen nothing yet. We're going to have a powerful show tomorrow. We're going to be liberating black men and white men and all men from left and right. to let them know that they got options outside of America. If you want to stay in America and date, that's your business. But if you want to explore options outside of America, we got groups like BMO, the Black Man's Options, that's more or less been dedicated by my man Eric Spencer and Al Grease. It's Charles Tyler's birthday, and we're going to be celebrating his birthday in Rio off of Copacabana Beach. We're going to be celebrating male empowerment. Because when black men and men are at their best, then they can be the best for their women. When men demand what they want from women, the women won't continue to do what they're doing. So once again, I got a little off target. But what are you guys getting from this conversation about black masculinity? You said before the billions, you don't think black masculinity is dead. B9, you said you thought black masculinity was dead, correct?
Dead. Because it's bigger than us. It's a macro thing. Mm-hmm. The advertising, all of this metrosexual type talking and making men look normal wearing dresses, this whole Medea issues and this and that or that. All of that stuff is subliminal messages to weaken the man and the masculinity in the man. It is not just from us. It is not just from our women. It is from advertising. It is from a bigger agenda that is encompassing all of us. And unfortunately, the problem is that our race, too many times we take the bait. If you tell us that the sun is purple, we'll go around and preach around that the sun is purple.
So I asked you earlier about a time when you remember the men had stands. What did you graduate from high school, B9? What did you graduate?
92.
92. Tell the audience what you remember about the 90s where men actually demanded more than what they're getting now. Tell the audience about what you remember. And where are you from? Are you from up north or are you from the south? Where are you from, brother?
I'm from D.C.
From D.C.
Washington, D.C., the nation's capital.
No doubt. Talk about a time, B9, from the 90s where men that actually demanded more versus what they're getting now from women in relationships.
Well, my era wasn't the best era, just being honest with you, because my era was the crack era. There was the crack epidemic, and it was a lot of stuff that our generations and our race is actually just recovering now from my generation and what we went through with that. However, that being stated, even though the men weren't necessarily doing the best thing, they did the thing. Right. They still took control of the situation where even young men as young as 13, 14 years old said, I don't like how my mama's living, or I don't like how my sister's living. And if I have to go to school and work or be on this corner or jeopardize my freedom in jail just to make sure that my mama's hair is done or my sister's not getting teased for having these rundown shoes, that's the generation that I come from, where we're willing to risk it all for our mama. We're willing to risk it all for our sisters, for our women. If you go around talking smack about my wife, because I'm married for 20 years, but back in the day, if you went around talking too much smack about my girl, you gonna see me.
No doubt.
And if my hands or butts about it. So we come from a generation where we are always the ones that step up to the plate, even for women that we don't necessarily know. If we see a elderly woman in the community and she is a pillar of that community, we are willing to whip somebody's behind or go to jail just because the police or somebody is messing with one of our own. Right. That's where I'm from.
Right. And you said it perfectly. You know, we've been conditioned to serve our women. It was always about mama. But you notice something, guys, Black Man 316 and Before the Billions, you notice anytime some of our women try to shame us, they always say, your mama black. That lets you know that we live in a very gynocratic society, in a matriarchy, where we always defer to women. But you never hear them say, your daddy is black. Why do you think that is, Before the Billions? You never hear them say, your daddy is black. Why is that?
I think that they are thinking that it'd be more of an insult to you. It's all about insulting you at the end of the day. It's not like it's almost like they use that to say, oh, forget everything that you're saying. and trying to discredit everything that you have like an issue with because your mom is black or you're black. And then what happens if the mom isn't black? What if they mix? So they just go to it. They may be saying it and then don't even know don't even know if their mom's black or not. Just saying it. So yeah, that's pretty much my reasoning for it. Well, why I would think that somebody would say that.
Well, what I think it is, I think it's because we don't value our fathers in this country. I think we minimize the importance of fatherhood. What's your take on the Black Man 316 where you hear the rhetoric, your mom is black? And I'm going to sign off in a few minutes. I got to go to the office. But I love you guys. And I got a powerful show coming on at 8 o'clock tomorrow. It's going to be entitled The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And we're going to talk about the degreasing of the American male. If you guys love this show, you're going to love the one on tomorrow. I got some heavy hitters coming up tomorrow. But Black Man 316, why is it that, and many times, our women always retort by saying your mama is black, but they never say your dad is black? And I know why, but what's your take on it?
My thought process is that, number one, probably majority of them don't have any relationship with their father for whatever reason. So they don't have that kind of a affinity for that father role model or whatever the case may be. Second thing is that it's been like B9 was saying, back in the day, if somebody said your mama, it's time to get them up, It's that simple. And so with that same energy, back in the day that you used to get them up, they try to get that same energy out of you and to get you to stop or, get you to lash out or whatever the case may be or get off balance. So I think that a lot of times it's just kind of a distraction technique to get you away from whatever it is that you're really talking about. And if you invoke mama, everybody's going to stop. They already know it.
Right. I totally agree. Shout out to my man, John Yarb. He says that, and you're correct, brother. He said it's like Tupac is the real father and Will Smith did a stepfather, which is crazy. This woman is delusional and into herself, but wants to be picked. She was shown red flags from the very beginning. What's up with women like Jada Pinkett Smith in your mind, B9? She got a man that's a multimillionaire, but she's still shaming this man publicly. What's your take on women like Jada Pinkett Smith? And maybe you talked about it earlier. I got so much going on in my head. But
it's all good. I did. Right. And I'll be brief. It's his fault, though. I'm sorry to say that, but it's Will Smith's fault on this one. Because Will Smith had a great wife at first. Mm-hmm. Will Smith had a ride or die chick. Like I said, I've been married for 20 years. And I've had ups, downs, lefts, rights, all types of unexpected things. Because if you want to make God laugh, you tell him your plans. Mm-hmm. And then he'll give you the real deal of how things are going to work out. Mm-hmm. So Will Smith already had a great woman, and he left her, had his own son named after him, left him, and then she remarried a minister. And he remarried Jada Pinkett Smith. And they both went in two different directions from there. He had loyalty. He had somebody that was with him when he was poor. So a woman that was with him that helped him build his empire. And then he rewarded a different woman, and she got the spoils of what the other woman built the soil and was in the trenches with him with. So God has a funny way of making things come full circle. That's all I got to say on that.
No doubt, no doubt. Shout out to my man, Peter Fawn. And it's awesome when we have white men in our spaces. Peter, at some point in the future, if you ever want to come on the show and share your thoughts about the shows, feel free. My show is dedicated mostly to black men because of our struggles, but I love all men. My show is not just limited to black men. It's to inspire all men. But because black men have special issues that are unique within the contextual framework of America, I tend to focus more on the issues of black men. But also, Peter, I have a abiding love for black men as well. Peter Fawn says that the black manosphere is strong, talented, and motivated as hell. Yes, we're very motivated. And so many rad content creators. Seriously amazing. I'm a white dude. Thank you for the content and respect. No, thank you, sir. Respect to you. And if you ever want to come on and chop it up with this man, feel free to do it. Like I said, my arms are open to all ethnic groups. So thank you for that kind comment. Real quick, guys, before I leave, it's about 32 minutes after the hour, 2 o'clock. This stream has gotten to 2 hours and 31 minutes, and I'm not going too much longer. But starting with B9, what did you get from this show about K.Samuels being the boogeyman? And also, is Black Masculinity dead? Real quick, what did you get from the show and how was it inspiring or inspirational to you?
Well, as usual, another great show from you, Kosher Clinician. Salute to you, sir,
Salute
for
to you,
all that you do.
No doubt.
Not
Thank you,
just
sir.
this show, but your whole body of work, sir. But in specific to this show, what it does is it shows me that, once again, Kevin Samuels is so needed, and as well as you are, because I'm a very successful man. I'm a father of 5. I've been married 20 years. I'm a pillar in my community in Washington, D.C. Doesn't mean that I would get respect, even though I give respect to women. The question that you brought up about why would a woman say that your mama is black, it goes right back to the sisterhood, because she's trying by association to say, hey, you're going to respect me the same way you respect your mama. And sweetheart, it don't work like that. You don't get mama respect unless you are doing things well above and beyond with the standard that men are accepting in 2021. Right. So they are expecting you to pay for a Rolls Royce, but they are giving you a Hyundai. It don't work like that, sweetheart. And we as men have to stop accepting that nonsense, because we have these fake platforms out here. And Miss Gail, your moderator, is in these same YouTube streets that I'm in, and she can back me up on this one. Thank you for shouting out my page too, Miss Gail. But I was on Miss TJ's show. I was on the Lapeef show. And these women constantly are looking for amen corners where they will say, I agree with you on one point, Kosher Clinician, or I agree with you on one point, Kevin Samuels. And then they will try to derail the whole conversation and swing it right back to the sisterhood nonsense that we're trying to end in the first place. Right. But the real question is the bottom line. All this nonsense that these fake agents are talking, is it lowering the divorce rate any? Is it keeping families together really? Is it keeping us men out of child support court, which is an embarrassment to us, because we will gladly pay for our children and our responsibility. We don't need anybody to come in and act like they're forcing us to take care of our own. And these are the tactics that these women are using in 2021. So yes, Kevin Samuels is necessary and you are necessary, because the problem is a macro problem. It comes down to dollars and cents. While they were burning down Tulsa, because Tulsa was black men making money. While they were burning that down, they were glorifying Madam C.J. Walker as the first female millionaire. It's about us as men, not just us as a race.
Right.
God bless. Thank you so much, sir.
God bless you too, brother. Thank you, sir. Real quick, Black Man 316, it's about 35 minutes after the hour, 2 o'clock. Bring it to you live from the greatest state in the Union, the Tar Heel State. What did you get from this show? And tell me how this show gave you some level of insight about the declining presence of black masculinity, the Black Pill movement, and it's Kevin Samuels the Boogey Man. What did you get from the show, brother, real quick?
Man, first of all, I'd like to say, man, all of you panelists on here, B9 and Before the Billions, and of course yourself, Kosher Clinician, you guys are some sharp brothers. I've learned a lot from listening from your perspectives, and I really appreciate and embrace that. I think that's the first thing. Second thing is that masculinity is something that we just got to take back. You know, right now it's kind of one of those things that's been tamped down, and if you speak on it, just know that something's going to come behind it. Third thing is that Kevin Samuels is probably the boogeyman against, you know, those ideas that we're talking about, against masculinity. Anybody that's talking the feminism stuff or the sisterhood thing, yeah, he's the boogeyman for those ideas. But I think it's important that we embrace that so that our lineage, our families can come together and have some kind of success and be able to thrive in today's society. Unfortunately, it's like B9 said, it's economics. Thanks.
It's definitely economics, and it's a very pernicious form of economics in the way of the government that's used to usurp not only the power and authority of black men, but all men. White men get hit the hardest in divorce court and child paternity court. Before the Billions, real quick, brother, what did you get from the show? And about is black masculinity dead? Is Kevin Samuels the Boogeyman? What did you get from the show, brother, and how did it inspire you, real quick?
Yes, sir. I would say no to both. I don't think that masculinity is dead because we have examples like you, social clinician, who are still alive, still teaching men how to act right and go on the correct path. And I'm trying to be in that same realm as well, helping men to become the best version of themselves. So, you're a great example of that. And so, by that definition, I don't think that masculinity is dead.
Right, no doubt.
Also, and
Yes, sir, go ahead,
also for Kevin Samuels, he's only the boogeyman for the people who fear him or hate him. Right? He's only the person who's like, okay, I'm telling the truth, and because the truth is hard to take, and people want to make their own decisions of, okay, I'm going to make the decision of not going to the gym and losing the weight, so that way I'm not even a part of the group that Kevin Samuels is talking about when he's talking about height, weight, dress, size. I'm not even going to be a part of the group of people who's uncooperative because, hey, you know what, let me change my ways. It's all about decisions at the end of the day, and then it makes it sad because it's talking about a whole bunch of grown people who can make their own decisions, supposed to be able to make their own decisions, but yet and still they choose poorly on what they want to fight for. They don't fight for health. They fight for, oh, let me tell Kevin Samuels that I don't need to lose any weight. Stuff like that. So yeah, he'd be the boogeyman for somebody who doesn't want to change their ways.
Yeah, well, the truth being told, before the billions, if Jesus Christ was living himself, he would be the boogeyman. Shout out to Black Man 316 for the $5 super chat. Thank you, sir. He said, thank you for this platform. No, thank you. Thank you for guys like Before the Billions, B9, Peter Fawn, and all the brothers that support this content. When I started this journey, I didn't know if I was going to be in it long because Before the Billions, it's very time consuming and very stressful. Trying to come up with relevant content and content that's going to inspire men takes talent. It's not easy. But, one thing about being a Leos don't quit. We're very creative and we're very talented, and we believe in fighting for the people that we love and care about. So like I said, I'm here to win. I'm here to fight, and I'm not a quitter. And so you ain't seen nothing yet. The lion is about to come out of the cage. Guns are blazing. So if you guys think you've seen something there, you ain't seen nothing yet. So we're going to sign off in a minute. Get ready for the show tomorrow at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. To the 46 people that are listening, please share the content. Share this content with at least 5 people. Help this channel get to 5,000. From 5,000, help it get to 10,000. From 10,000, help it get to 20. And let's inspire and encourage as many men as we can. Go support Before the Billions on his YouTube channel. He's a good kid. He's a good young man, young enough to be my son. And also, shout out to my man B9 for dropping in. Guys, get ready for tomorrow. Because like I said, if y'all think y'all seen something tonight, you ain't seen nothing. Just wait till tomorrow. You're gonna be shouting like them black women in the Pentecostal churches. You ain't seen nothing yet. So guys, get ready because we're about to have a powerful show on tomorrow. All right, so we're about to sign off. I got to go to the office and see clients. Thank you Before the Billion. Thank you, B9. Thank you, guys. I love you guys, and we'll be seeing you guys soon. So I'm going to read a couple of these comments before I sign off real quick. Red Pill Awareness said, we also need low tolerance for the BS life throws our way. The more you say no and stand up for yourself, it's respect, and you will be at the end of the day, no doubt. Mr. Stewart, once again, brother, thank you for the $100 cash out, man. Much love and respect, brother. I love you for doing that. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. Mr. Stewart, he said black masculinity is on the rise. No doubt. We're coming back strong. And Red Pill Awareness said, do not tolerate their drama. They will drain your mental and physical well-being. You're 100% correct. Eventually, you will be played. Stop and call them out, and they will respect you more. 100%, brother. Mad love. So we're about to sign off. And I've said in the past that Frederick Douglass said that it's easier to heal damaged children, broken children, than to heal damaged men. I told you guys that there are 7 steps that a man must go through in order to become optimized. Understanding female psychology is paramount to the efficacy of a man. Male mental health is paramount, and also male physical health. When you guys tolerate women that do not honor you and respect you as a man, then you are actually shaming yourselves and are more or less projecting an image of weakness towards the woman that you're dealing with. Stand on your square as a man. Become the man that God created you to be. and watch the women that you so desire and love continue to love you as a man. We're about to sign off. And once again, guys, thank you for the show. This has been an awesome show. I'm going to do the countdown timer real quick. And we're going to sign off because I got to get to the office. I got to see clients. Got to see clients, man. But once again, thank you guys for joining in. This has been an awesome show. I love you guys. Shout out to my dear sister, Dr. O. Love you, sister. You always support me. I love you. Thank you for my dear friend, Gail Lockett. I love Gail, my little Scorpio friend. It's Scorpio season. And so I love Gail. Thank you, Gail. She's always holding the brother down. I love me some Gail, and I love my man, Tim Howell. Tim Howell always coming through. And Ene Kenya. Feel free to come on the next time. Sister, love you too. Come on the next time. Miss Ene Kenya. Thank you, guys. I love you.